preparing oneself to contemplate is very important about life, about our existence. That time is billion times better than all this like rat race we are just going, for a moment to pause. And this happened to me when I was 18 years old, long time ago. And then I'm also sometimes a little bit like in a rat race these days. Not, but doing some duties, that's all I would say. So that no slightest remorse or regret. I have fulfilled them more than beyond my imagination too. If I was a layman, I don't think I would have struggled to do those things. First, I must find out whether you understand my English. Do you? I hope so. Otherwise, I'll be speaking. Finally, realize that I had a couple of friends. Let's see. Yeah, I had a teacher who was from Australia. Friends. Sorry. I'm very happy. Yeah, very good. Being simple and completely simplified. It's the best thing you can do also to your mom, right? So give some of that spiritual detached vibes to her also. These things will pass very fast, and you will have good thoughts about you've done your best. Surely would guide also to a higher plane. It's also a great blessing to get that chance, robes, and she's also blessed to have you simply representing Buddha in their eyes. You have already done your duty, actually. If I tell you honestly, years back, you have already done your family. But these are all bonus. Take it like that. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. That faith, that's also some history from doesn't come just in one lifetime. It's a certain. Now I had to wait for you all. Huh? I normally you all are waiting for me. You all, some of the old parts, you all also going to stay, but the first day. Ah no, you missed some. Yeah, good, good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Mm, that's good. That's very good. Because actually, I must tell you all, like, um, this is a 14-day program that I put to 5 days. And in that 5 days, some benefit I have noticed, 3 days, 4 days, continuously, not breaking here and there. But people who really can't, there's some real reason, then they're doing, they break and come because it's better than not doing at all with this idea, then it's okay. But otherwise, don't. Just don't, 3 4 days like this in this environment. Try to be there. It's a special. There's something happening, so one might miss that. So I hope that I hope the organizers also will know to tell that, because who really can't make it, I have told them they can come anytime, come and go. That's a different thing. If they really really there's some real issue, that is karma, but then they are getting something for sure. But this program, this 5 days, a real minimum that has been made. I was forced to do that, but I've seen that continuously, just third day, fourth day, then only that operation will happen. You go out and come, then it will break. It will break. But you will have some benefit. But I'm trying to give you the best. But if you have unavoidable and some, then okay, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. We have to do like that then. But otherwise, suddenly 1 day, 2 days, you feel, no, you see people coming and going, and then you think, oh, yeah. But maybe you'll have to sometimes attend to you. You have sometimes to attend to your mother or something in case she's doing that. Okay, then forget about it completely. Transfer the merit to all of them, all beings. They all have our relations one time or the other. Karmically. So all are here, no? Right. I understand. I understand. I can imagine. I'm really surprised that you all are just there physically. That's why I had told, of course, I've given open it, like there's a big list, like a application. Did you all go through that? And then I had told physically, if the person is able to come, it's okay. Even if someone come by chance, I I don't know, I not told in detail maybe. Suddenly, they hear, you can take them, but just you can't check all the other details. Then you can check with their guardian, immediate people who are looking after the person, and confirm if they are approving, they're okay, then okay, let them come quickly. Because that opportunity, if the person can physically come, means it's a qualification itself. There's a lot of things we start to churn, surrounding. I told you it's a karma operation. So anyway, now we start. Um, all of you have this book. I forgot to tell you had to read another one. Introduction අර සම්මාදිට්ඨි සූත්‍රයේම අනතමග්ග සම්මිතේ කිව්වේ නෑනේ. There are two suttas you all have to read. Okay, but the terminology I must tell you that this will be a different type of retreat, because it's focused mostly on the main thing of the meditation, wisdom. So Buddha was known for his wisdom. So it's not, I'll be sorry, like you might not be experiencing a lot of, like, you will have to read a lot, think a lot, not just like, stay in peace. It's not that kind of retreat. But if anything that's going to block you, or that kind of peaceful practice, I think this is like a block remover. If something is blocking in your destiny, in your life, material life or spiritual life, I think this should clear. Because all blockages, as we know, come by we have hold to something, we have clung to something. So this main purpose of this meditation is make you let go. So making you to give up, to let go. So when that effect is happening, the root cause of what any blockages you're having should be removed. Okay, it could be in your meditation, it could be in your material life, spiritual life, or your material life. So in the morning, you have that session where you can spend more time for calm, peaceful meditation from 3 to 6. So that one, if you are not slept properly tonight, so don't worry about it. You sleep well, and you choose whether you like to, you can come or not. Okay. but there is something else, a benefit from that, using the special time, using some special different energies in that time. It might help you in a different way. It's like using a pistol, if the machine gun and the pistol and all the weapons I use. So if it can help you. It's also connected with cosmic energy in in the morning. So all these days I was unable to come. I was in my room doing my things, and just I try this time. Maybe I might be here that time. Okay, I can't promise. Mm. But the main thing will be, did you all understand when I told about, like we have a body and then we have consciousness separately? Did you understand? Like, say we are unconscious and you become conscious. So we know we are conscious when we are feeling and perceiving. Okay, and then we react. Okay, this is very much. This is what we call ourself, a being. Hmm? Otherwise, to the thin air, we can't get an idea of a being. So we normally and because we get an idea, this body is me. Okay, and then what we are thinking, what we are feeling, it's me. Okay, is it right? You feel that way, right? So Buddha is showing us, he will show us slowly that this body is not actually ours. Even our consciousness is not ours. So first we must learn, like we must know clearly that we have a body, and then we become conscious. And even if you take a slow motion, how the conscious process takes place, I told you that time in the morning. Like you have the ear and the object. Okay, this is the material part. They're all material still. The sound waves and your ear. Based on this, the initial awareness you're getting, like say you are unconscious and suddenly you're going to hear something. So the initial awareness, um, it's the initial consciousness. With that, you have like you then immediately you have a feeling. This is a part of consciousness. You can't have consciousness without feeling, perception, and all that. They come simultaneously. They come immediately. They are present in that. They are the parts of the consciousness, or factors of consciousness. So when you're getting initial awareness, you feel, and what you feel, you perceive as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. That so you perceive it. That's perception. That part of it is that it judges or it measures it as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And there's something immediately that reacts with greed, to pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling with aversion, and to neutral feeling with, we call it delusion. So if you're only thinking like that while you're getting the sound, we call it, you make karma. That karma making is where there's intention. Intention will come when you have greed, hate, or delusion. Just accidentally you don't get karma. So the moral law works when you have intention. So the intention is propelled by greed, hate, and delusion. Okay, this must be clear. This is called also sankara, mental formation. This term you must be very clear, because I will be telling another sutra for you to read. Mental formation. So it is the karma forming. This is also very important in Buddha's teaching. It's called the wheel of life. In Tibetan drawings and all, you see the wheel of life. But it's easy to draw. It's difficult to understand this. But it's not that difficult. At least theoretically it should be clear. And this is where you will, you had like a key for those insight to happen. Because the conditioned nature, mainly the Buddha's, this thing is like a scientist, he shows that everything comes by cause and effect. So the karma is very important. The sankara, sankara, it's in the Pali term. It's called mental formation. You'll find, I think, in the English translations. Um, so, but it has the intention mainly. So you should generally understand as feeling, perceiving, and reacting. Okay, that will be easy for you to. And those are the five things that we take as this is what we call ourselves, and we recognize it as ourselves. The self idea comes because of too much attachment to this. Now, this works with attachment. There's I don't see any being who, if you see a being, unless he's enlightened, it's without attachment. Unless it's a robot, it's not a being. We make it. So now I know you find, even if you find attachment to a cricket bat, you feel life in it. I felt it that way. Those days, I was very attached to cricket. So I know I tell a story about tuk-tuk drivers in India. Uh, you know, these three-wheelers. You have three-wheeler. They're like taxi drivers. So one of these boys, I remember he used to tell me that he got so attached to the junk, the metal junk, the tuk-tuk or three-wheeler. He should talk with the three-wheeler. He should tell, oh, he's hungry. I must give him some food. That is petrol. Putting petrol into that. So actually, you make an identity of something. Now, even when you see you are attached to someone, maybe your girlfriend or boyfriend or your mother, your father, or any other relation, you picture their form. Hmm? You think the person is that hair and that body or shape or a form. You will recognize with that. With that only that attachment comes, and you place like it's like permanent thing. Even that person dies or even a child, you want to have the same form. You don't want, if you, even if someone you say they say they're reborn somewhere, you would like to have that same form. You keep a picture and all that, and you identify with that. So this very important. It goes with attachment also. More with the attachment, the idea of I arises. So when the attachment reduces, that means you can reduce by being more aware and contemplating. Then you only see causes and effects, and things as they are. That's what we are trying to practice and see here. And we are going to the original sutras of the Buddha. I don't know whether you're going to read these things so much in your life. This was also because of my teacher. I got hold of them and we practice. And so there, we'll see. We have to get used to it. Mm, he's touching the actual ultimate nature of things from the period of that time, but it's still timely. We can experience those truths even today. We put the right awareness and use it as a right thing, not as a knowledge gathering thing, but if you take it as a pointer for you to think and contemplate, you will really have those visions. It's possible. So don't expect anything, but at least, just be open. I had to question you all to find out whether you understood what I said. Okay? A head knot might not convince me. Maybe I might tell you to explain what I say. Okay, that's it. You have the book, all of you. So you'll be doing much reading, not staying too much in peace, because making you to think and to just simply reading, going through this, there is a certain thing that's going to happen in your brain, that's which I know from some who have developed the meditation inside you, a level of positive energy which you might not immediately feel, but definitely end of the retreat you might instinctively know that there's something really wholesome that has you know you were there for the whole 5 days, right? How was the experience? Okay, you had not done any retreats at all before. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, you find completely like a new life, right? A pure life. Okay, you feel that's like going to a mud. Some, I know. Okay, it's like put into another plane of purity and another clarity. This gentleman went and came, but doesn't matter. You can cover up. Okay. You also came halfway, no? That, but you're staying this one, no? This one, English one. Yeah, you just do this. I think before you die, just do one time. I tell people how many times I nearly died to now come to do this now. Near death, I thought next life I will do it or give this, because my teacher and them, they were not known. They were in the forest. They were not going to the public. So people were inspired by them, but they didn't know the spiritual path what they taught. Now they just briefly told, if monks came, if you want to attain enlightenment, read this section, that section. That's it. Of course, they used to give some explanations, not go through like this. So now this was a quite a burden on me, as I was his attendant, and uh, in detail to give some idea how they practice. So now I'm really free after last year. I have given this whole thing, the major things. Actually, there's so many other small small things how the suttas will work, but this is the main one. Main one. We all want to get liberated, and this will help you at a moment of death or going to the hospital, maybe facing an operation. Everything you will be able to face this, or any trauma from the past, or any anxiety about the future. All that will be settled if you master this, because you're fully directly connecting to the fearless master of enlightenment and letting go, who has let go completely. Mm. I feel a little comfortable now again speaking English, but I don't know, maybe I'll be forced again. It's like for after many years. Anyway, so page number 6. But I like to, you all have been exposed to the Buddha's teaching in some way, no? You are coming to the, this, even the way of, this way of chanting and all that is so detailed. Who made that chanting book? Personally. Okay, okay. So where did you get all this chanting? I also learned some of the, I also don't know some of the meaning of this gathas, but in Sri Lanka they chant. And where was it in Australia? Nepal. Okay, right. Like that. Okay. Yeah, it's like a full Theravada, the chanting. Very, very. Can I have one book for myself? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So page number 6. But anyway, I want to know, did you understand something about how the body and then the consciousness, the part of consciousness, is that clear with everybody? If it's not clear, anyone, can you raise your hand? Okay. Now we have a body, okay? So, body is, Buddha breaks down into body and mind, like two parts mainly. So, now we are going to go through, actually, he looks at the body not in terms of electrons, and in those days it was not there like that. They should look in terms of elements. Okay, the ancient time, the body was taught, known as like like elements, like it's taken like hard as nature wise. You have hard nature, and like you have what's mostly hard nature is like your bones and your teeth and like that, and then the hardness of outside material things. You take it like maybe the mic has also the hard nature, and then you have the watery nature, like fluid nature. So that's like the blood is more there. In the blood, you have that quality more, and then you have water in the tap or whatever. Okay, so like taken like that, that's how the body is taken. So all these four, like heat and then air, like this, the four elements. They are just taken as elements. The body is made up of that way. And then there's a nice purpose for that. When you look like what is hard nature here and outside what has the hard nature, it's same. We are making a concept, like an idea, because it's in this space. So just to take that illusion away mentally, to dissect our body into four elements, and then you can see it's like same thing. To get that idea that the body is not you is one way. So body is separate like that. So we have ear, nose, tongue, body. I mean body, and then eyes, uh, mm, tongue, six sense organs with the brain. So these six organs have their separate outside stimulation. So the eye has forms, ear has sounds, like that. That also belongs to material nature. So the important thing is to know about how the consciousness arises. It can't arise in thin air. That's very important to know. It's conditioned. It needs always. So if someone tells that they're going to make a robot and they're going to have consciousness in that robot, I will disrobe and join that person. Yes, I would. That's a big thing, because that's the whole thing of whole this life. Consciousness, if someone can create it somewhere. So now, in the modern day, consciousness is not even understood. Leave alone trying to do something with that. It's not understood. It's still thought to be part of the material part. If you so it's some people have given light to it by like what's his name, Deepak Chopra, people like that, to the Western world. He has given some idea from, because the Eastern world, they had more knowledge about consciousness, in a more clearer way. But you will get a fuller picture, fuller explanation by now what you are going to study. How consciousness arise also, and how consciousness can be completely not arise at all. That's a very big answer, because so when you have an ear and object, okay, initially when the initial stage of when you're becoming conscious, immediately you will feel and perceive. And when you feel, what you feel, you perceive. So you perceive it as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So when you perceive it as pleasant, there will be a reaction part. That is so different from perceiving. Perception is different from feeling. So that's why they are given different names. Body is different from feeling. So that's why it's called body, form. So the Buddha separates them, this one phenomenon. Now, even now when you're hearing, when you're, what is this? So just some idea you must only have that it happens. You don't have to figure it out or something too much. Just know that every moment when you are becoming conscious, now even for me to talk like this, I'm conscious from somewhere, and then, I am expressing myself. So it's kind of a reaction, verbal reaction. So whether I'm doing it with compassion, it's good. If I'm doing it with detachment, is also good. So that is good karma done by words. Okay, so that's how it works. My friend, you get it? But don't think too much about it. Just know that these five are there. Right? It's clear, right? Now, even now, you are seeing me, and then you're conscious. And then you at this moment, maybe you're thinking it's nice, or it might be thinking, oh, it's terrible, or it's not, uncomfortable. So that's the reaction part, if that's happening. Okay, so it's how you perceive, you feel, you perceive. If you are not conscious at all, then you're like like a vegetable, or this thing. So that is, the body is there now, already you're conscious, and so it's always happening. So we have four parts in the consciousness, just to know. We have feeling, perception, and reaction. So they happen with each sense organ: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So all these sense organs, the consciousness never arises. It needs an object from outside, and it needs an organ, and then it needs this particular focus towards that. We'll be going through that. Then only it arises. It's conditioned. can't arise in thin air. Okay, this is a very important point to know what I'm trying to explain, because we are going into deep life, what life is about. So normally this consciousness arises due to past karma. Hmm? So I don't want to, let's see, we go through this, okay? Don't worry, just whatever you understand, try to keep it in mind. Doesn't mean it's like a university lecture or anything. Just relax and just try to, if you don't understand something, we'll see. We just go plainly. So page number 6. Now this Buddha is talking, okay, here, and I discovered that profound truth, so difficult to perceive, difficult to understand, tranquilizing and sublime, which is not to be gained by mere reasoning and is visible only to the wise. The world, however, is given to pleasure, delighted with pleasure, enchanted with pleasure. Truly, such beings will hardly understand the law of conditionality, the dependent origination of everything. Incomprehensible to them will also be the end of all formations, the forsaking of every substratum of rebirth, the fading away of craving, detachment, extinction, nibbana. This is what he suddenly thought when he became enlightened, just after he became enlightened. Yet there are beings whose eyes are only little covered with dust. They will understand the truth. So from his Buddha vision, he perceived that there are people being still who are put because he saw mainly. However, the world, however, is given to pleasure, delighted with pleasure, enchanted with pleasure. He knew pleasure loving beings, they will not see these profound truths, their minds. So that's why I sometimes relate why we leave cell phones and all other distractions to sharpen our, that faculty. This is the frontal cortex. So the frontal cortex, especially the part where there is analyzing, contemplation, where we'll be seeing the truth. Actually, our own body, our brain is made like a microscope. We are now trying to make an instrument for enlightenment. This is not just to study for something. It is actually this is how we also practice. That's why we have a process of disciplining ourselves, controlling our strong urges, so that we sharpen our brain function. That's now already you're doing it after 12, or after the meal you had. You're going to only take drinks and all that, not hard drinks, but I mean, so you'll be having that kind of thing, and then sleep also slowly, not suddenly. If you have not slept properly like that, you don't try to keep awake. So you make this instrument proper, so that you are going to use that third eye of wisdom. Hmm? That's very important, because these retreats are not just for some of them. They told it's like eighth grade. So some of the information here, yes, it's true. Eighth grade means because now in schools and all other places, even meditation, even spiritual institutions, they try to make this very intellectual. This shows only one thing: there's no experience of these teachings at all. Still try to find it through words, concept. So it can take you a very wrong way, in a long way. So this is either you experience it or not. So these words have visions that can open up. We are not used to that type. Our general conditioning in the modern day is too much intellectually and too much academically trained mind does not have that faculty. Those days when the hair was cut, the enlightenment took place. So how to get there? So we are trying to do that. This is something new I'm giving also in Sri Lanka or everywhere I'm going, because of course, because of how we went, the path we went with my teacher. So of course the study part is there, just enough for us to get that vision, not too much where we are over studying, and also just meditating only without studying at all. That extreme is also avoided. So just making the balance which is necessary for us to point, making the Buddha our guru, our master. So here we are, he is here. So the world, however, is given to pleasure, delighted with pleasure, enchanted with pleasure. Truly, such beings will hardly understand the law of conditionality, the dependent origination of everything. Incomprehensible to them will also be the end of all formations. That means all conditioned things. So he took them now, every conditioned thing, all conditioned things means now all these experiences you are having of being conscious, it is conditioned. Okay? This you must know. You to experience something as pleasant or unpleasant or whatever, what you need an object from the outside, you have to see something, and then with the eye and with this as a condition you get a feeling, perception, and so on. With the ear, nose, tongue, every experience is like that. So but all these objects that we are getting, they are constantly changing. So when they are we are depending on something changing, and all our experiences are always changing. You never ate an ice cream that was still you're eating, no? You have finished it, and it's a memory only. You didn't experience anything through your senses. They're only memory. Hmm? You don't have it still now. It's all gone, 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 gone. So this is very important factor of knowing the impermanence of things. Even a few minutes ago in the morning, you heard me, you saw something, it's also gone. So you become more noticing of that, how every experience will be finishing like that. So that's where he said, like, incomprehensible to them will also be the end of all formations. Formations means it's a word, it's difficult to put it in English. So this is the closest they have put is sankara. So condition phenomena. So that same word is used for the reaction part. Hmm? When you what you perceive, you react as greed, with greed or hate or delusion. That's called karma also. How you react, you'll be getting back the like for example, I don't know how to explain this. Like my mother, she used to have an Montessori when we were very small. So that Montessori became very, initially there were like very few students in Southern Africa. So my father was also a little business minded. He wanted to make an extra money. So there they had, slowly it became very, successful, and she had many students and many classes. And then there were a lot of jealous people too, like in all Sri Lankan people at that time. So they caused a lot of like problems, like threaten my mother and all that. And she's such an innocent person. She's such a holy person too, actually. So, but my father was very reactive. He was very tough also. So then those days also had some experience with, you could say, I don't know whether you know the term rishis or seers in India. So I had this, so they have this ability to see the karma of people. They don't see bodies when they see, because the body is like it represents the karma. It shows your karma because it is the most tangible manifestation of your karma is your body, because it is the instrument where you experience your karma. So the ancient in India, they had all this already this knowledge, and even now they do. There are such beings who would, when they see you, they will see what is the karma process you're going through, hmm? And how it was created, and when it will end, and how the next karma will take over, in which date or whatever. So this knowledge they have, it's a special vision from the third eye. Knowledge we can get from the third eye if you have developed that type of meditation. So now in this practice, what we are doing in the Buddha's practice, we are now stopping the karma. We are not looking, that wisdom eye makes you desireless, dispassionate. That's the effect of that wisdom eye, which makes your thoughts stop, really. And when it really stops, your mind karma stops. And of course, your words are stopped, your actions are not there. So then the result, the future of reaping this karma will be stopped. Okay, so this is very interesting in that way. So my mother, that time she was going through this. So I had this contact with this particular kind of seers, and they just told me that time, or that communication came to me, that my mother in before life in Buddha Gaya, she was in a previous birth. When she was there, she has insulted some of the saints. That is the karma she was getting in this life. So it's very simple like that. But so this is very interesting. So so I had told my mother too that time. So that's why even though she's innocent now, she's getting all this. People feel like doing something or saying something very hurtful or whatever. So there's always some reason to give you pleasant feelings and unpleasant feelings, and also sometimes good feelings. So, but and that way we will not have anger to these people who are doing that to us or a situation, and then we can reduce our karma of reacting again. And this one way. But in this way, we are practicing. This is going to, look at things in a very objective way, and that way it's going to really, not make you react at all, and that's going to stop your karma in a permanent way. And also in the present life, you'll feel peaceful that you don't react. You're looking at things, and you feel blissful because of that, because of your own purity of not reacting to the situations and doing your work only as a duty, not getting attached, no, not getting irritated. That's the blessings in the present life. But in the moment of death, we are going to study that also. How many of you think rebirth and karma is true, or what do you think? don't 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 lift your hand just to be in the group or something. I also studied this as a young boy. How many of you think it might not be, it's some might be not, because I don't want a blind answer. Do you think maybe it's there or it's not there? What do you think? How many of you think it might not be there? Maybe we die and it's finished, or all is finished. Huh? You're not sure. Okay, you're honest. Good, good. Not, you don't know. Anyone else? Okay, right. Yeah, that's good. I don't know. If I ask you the other way, how many of you think that karma and rebirth is there? So you have to lift your hand. You can't say yes to every answer question. Okay, okay, I understand. Very good. Yeah, leave it that way. Okay, doesn't matter. Because in Eastern, there's so much known is karma, karma, karma. And if you go to the East, everything is taken. That's why they're so lazy, also, I think, and nothing is happening. And regarding rebirth, also, they had a lot of ideas. So I would suggest after this retreat, if you have time, everybody, if they can go through Edgar Casey's Many Mansions, that might be an interesting book for you to study, just for your research. Edgar Casey Many Mansions, because these are very important. I think even myself, I didn't want to. Even now, I am researching. Now my father died, so I will be using some of my mystical things as well, and then really see. And then I will also maybe tell people what really happened, how we lived, and how it was related, and all that. Because it's a research for me also. I don't want to blindly just because it's in the book or somewhere. To Buddha has also told to do like that. He has not told to just follow him. Okay. But all of you you can understand that this part you can understand, no? You need the I and the object for I consciousness to take place. Okay. And with that connection, you get a feeling, and you perceive and you react. Okay. Do you think that happens? That's sure. Huh? That's okay. That's very, we are always experiencing it. But you can see how detailedly the Buddha has, broken down the simple process of cognizing. We'll come to more details of it. Okay. Now, the now out of those five, the form, the form element is explained by the Buddha. How to look at it? Okay, that is the material part, not in terms of electrons and atoms. In that time, they were known as, I told you, the four elements, and now the four elements are taken as the like a nature of nature wise. So now it's explained in one place. It's very important. This will help you for your. It's a meditation object. Okay. how to look at the world also that way. What now is the solid element? You know, Buddha is questioning. This is page number 10. What now is the solid element? The solid element may be one's own or it may be external. And what is one's own solid element? Whatever in one's own person or body, there exists of karmically acquired hardness. Now, Buddha used this karmically means, according to Buddha, that we have karma, from previous lives. So this body comes for us to experience the karma, okay, with the nerves and all that to feel. We need, for feeling, we can't have, we need something. So the body is like an instrument for us to have the feeling. Hmm? So karmically, this is karmically acquired hardness. So it's not just manifesting in the mother's womb. Also, initially, it's because of karma. It just come from thin air. Of course, we have the mother and the father's this thing coming, sperm and the ovary, uh, and there the life. That, but that all that combination to come and to work out. So karma is very much there, from previous lives to match your life to go through according to what you have to work out what you have done in that life. Karmically acquired hardness, firmness, such as the hair of the head. Maybe you have beautiful hair and all that. Due to past karma, did I tell you? Yes, today morning I told about this hand, no? Just forget which place where I told. Yeah, about this one girl, lady who was spiritually inclined, and it was in that many mansions I'm talking about. So he is to go. He doesn't know any idea of karma or anything. But in his reading, this word karma comes, and it relates to times of crusaders sometimes, what they have done. I have not gone through that book. No, never. Very important, I think, because my approach for Dhamma teaching also was not, it was through from another angle, from science, and those days we did. I thought Buddhism was like another religion, actually, like my mother with a lot of stances, chanting, and prayers and vows, and so I didn't think it had answers to the world. So only in the scientific as well as the other way on my own approach I came across. So Edgar Casey is a very interesting. So it's very, if you're really thirsty for knowledge or truth about life, it will be interesting. So we used to go into unconscious state that they also, look at it. She has cleaned the toilets and all that of that nunnery. She was a nun at that time with so much, not cleaning act and all that. She felt faith and, cleaned it with all, and that was the karma. She had that beautiful hand and she used that hand for, jewelry and, like jewelry means advertisements and all that in New York. This is one story. There are so many. I gave this book to one of my very hedonistic classmate when we met in Bangkok, actually, many years ago when I was like 21 years old. I was on my way from Nicosia, and so we were really good friends when we were like the primary and maybe high school. No, I was not there. So he used to go for all these, parties, discourse, but he was thinking also a little bit. So I was already on the path. Just I have gone to those countries just to please my father to finish the degree and all that. So we were together, and I told him about this book, I think, and or he read while I was there or what. He suddenly thought I want to become a monk, because it gave a lot of answers as well as really changes. But he didn't, and he did marry somebody from Australia actually. Yeah, this one I think he came here after from Thailand. I think I don't know for work or something, but he married somebody. I remember. But anyway, at least the thought, that you want to renounce everything and you really think something deep about life, it's a great thing. It starts in your destiny. So, what now is the solid element? The solid element may be one's own. Now, when you read this kind of sutras, you must relax. You must sit down comfortably. You must really comfortably relax. It could be your bed even. You should not be in a strained position, but you should not be in a position where you fall asleep also. You should be alert and comfortable. So it's like looking from outside your own self, the body. You should then start reading. And when you are really relaxed, you will notice your breathing naturally. Not like you try to notice the breathing, but you're relaxed, then you start to notice the physical function of the breath, inhaling and exhaling. Then you read. That's how you should do this. The thing is, when you talk about because they have a very low esteem or low value of the Shastra and all, that is because there are demons involved in it. Demons means, the yakshas of coming to the body or something. So that's why, because they also have a divine access to the divine information. They have some access. So sometimes the rishis who have developed their minds, so they have more respectable status. But the knowledge is same. Like so if you get it from anyone, like, but the problem is getting bound with just for some knowledge in that way, and it can cause problem for your path in one way. But because people really go like believe so much sometimes, and then they go into a kind of so if you are on a real path, and then if you get this kind of information, is quite good. It will help you because you know what's the main path, and you're also on a path. If you're not on a path, then you get all this access to different type of, then we don't know how you are going to how you might be completely influenced also in a certain way for many years sometimes. So I say that is also karma for you to be stuck in certain way. But this information regarding past life, some karma, it's a very it has some truth. These are unseen facts about our lives. So um, like my life from age of 18, the Dhamma also came, and then my some practices with the Hindu yogis, that side, that also came up. So I see some lives I've been practicing that way very strongly for many lives, I would say. And then I have also been practicing with the monks, I would say the arhants or with them. So I met, even without searching, when I was young, these monks who were really deep into the Dhamma and practice. So, but that has helped me when I take decisions, because that part where normally we, like, some people only know the Dhamma and they don't know sometimes the karma of, when you take decisions, when you can take that into account, sometimes there's more possibility you'll take the right decision, considering the surrounding and all that. So if you can take that information that way, it's very helpful. Um, Very much in my way of even guiding some people also, I have that, I would, even when they come to ordain, I just don't, I will I will go through some of their deeper structure that is coming from that other side, from the rishis. But they have access to, like, our karma is recorded. That's very important to know. Each action we are doing, even we are doing alone, there's a record of it. This was the old science. There's like someone even there's like a fairy tale, like someone writing about each soul and all that, about their pimpao and all that. These are all true. Recently I get to know very clearly about it. There's a record now. People know about Akashic records. It's not like Akashic records. It's more like a divine area where there's accounts of each person's karma. And whatever we are doing, it gives, especially physical karma. I tell in my programs, that's very difficult. That's why we have these rules protecting us from that. When we might think about something, but when we do it verbally, also it's there. But physically, when we do, especially regarding our sensual desires and anger, when we do like that, then it gets recorded very strongly, and the nature waits until like this are very big lecture on this topic, the mechanism of karma, and I have personally experienced myself too. So you must be very careful, like, so when I pinpoint, then people can be more careful. Otherwise they see their life stagnating, and they don't know what's the reason cause, not really progressing. So some of these causes are due to some mistakes they have done, especially in the sensual way, and like that. in Buddha as a bodhisattva, yeah, it's possible that otherwise for it, that possibility, but Buddha is to have only for 7 days, any problem, because of his, that that's the might he has brought, the type of karma he has brought also. Any problem he used to have only for 7 days. That's one of the, these things of his unique. It's not that because he become Buddha, but he has accumulated that type of merits in the past, goodness in the past, that he has that kind of, the problems won't last more than 7 days. But of course, definitely, he had back pain, and even sometimes like people came and insulted him. Ladies came with, with telling that he's the one who has impregnated them and all that. This all, there's some reason from previous lives. Even some monks, even, especially Mukala Maharatan, his last days, he was so powerful. He was second to Buddha in psychic powers. But then he was beaten by robbers. Then he saw with his own vision. Now, some of the monks, they had all that power too, to see the karma and the past and all that. So, but that is, so this one, Mugalan Maharata, he saw that, he has killed his parents due to the wife's instigation at one birth. And that karma, he has gone to the lowest worlds, and then the last residue part he has to go through in that birth. No one knows what we have done, and at least now we know in this life we must make sure, and we must prepare to face anything, any pain and difficulty, by developing that level of detachment and wisdom. So that now, like, this retreat like this is the time we can really get hold of something. So you must relax. And karmically, what now is the solid element? The solid element may be one's own, or it may be external. And what is one's own solid element? Whatever in one's own person or body there exists of karmically acquired hardness, firmness, such as the hairs of the head. Now you have to visualize this when you're reading. These are meditation objects. Um, Hairs of the body, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, marrow, kidney, heart, liver. When you're visualizing that like that, actually, you must, with the idea of letting go your body. If you are really holding to your body too much, this doesn't make much sense. You think, what is this? I don't want to look at my body in this way. Okay. So now when you're reading this, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bone, marrow, kidney, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, stomach, bowels, mesentery, excrement, and so on. This is called one's own solid element. Now, whether it be one's own, now this is where the contemplating part comes. Now, whether it be one's own solid element or whether it be the external solid element, they are both merely the solid element. Okay. Now here we will feel this is my heart, this is my teeth. Okay. Now when Buddha try to show you that you must look at it like where this, now this hard nature is more in these things that he told already. Okay. Nails, teeth, and all these things. So the hard nature, because it's in this space, you feel it's mine. But the hardness here and the hardness of this mic, this how you have to, this is where the meditation part comes. This is not an easy meditation actually. This is like mentally you have to see, like, if you take it as a nature, it's same. Just because it's here, we feel it's me, it's I. You can take also the liquid nature, fluid nature. For example, you have urine, okay, in your bladder. Now when it's in you here, you think it's my urine, okay. It's me. So, but when it goes to the toilet, when it's mixed with the water, do you get that sense? This is me. It was same while it was inside you also. So this is a nice, easy way to look at it: the urine, or even your blood. Okay, the water flowing in the tap, or blood inside your body, in your veins. This is a meditation. You can close your eyes even and sort of see they are all the same. Just because it's in this space, in this I call my body and this I call myself. But when you look at it, it's the same. You can just mentally sort of eliminate that. Then you become less of that, less of me, less of a self. Okay. So one is trying to see in plain truth. Now, whether it be one's own solid element or whether it be the external solid element, they are both merely the solid element. And one should understand according to reality and true wisdom, this does not belong to me, this am I not, this is not myself. This is a very big point to contemplate, to make you let go, relax. So this is a new language you're getting to know. Remember that. Because this is not normally you're used to. I know Jesus used to tell dust to dust. So we are going in another approach to see the body as something that is really not ours. Hmm? We are going to the second one of that. What now is the fluid element? The fluid element may be one's own or it may be external. And what is one's own fluid element? Whatever is one's own person or body, there exists of karmically acquired liquidity or fluidity, such as bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, skin, grease, saliva, nasal mucus, oil of the joints, urine, and so on. This is called one's own fluid element. Now, whether it be one's own fluid element or whether it be external fluid element, they are both merely the fluid element. Okay. So the liquid nature, which is in our body, so according to Buddha, it is said karmically acquired liquidity or fluidity, such as bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat. So I told you about urine. So when urine is in your body, we see feel it's me. You know, when it goes to the say to the toilet and it mixes with the other water, the idea really very clear that it's not me. Hmm? But while it's in your body, also it's not you. It's only mentally created. That so like parts of like, you have to like think that if you take it away, eliminate that, you become like empty. You're empty of a person. This body you can't call it as self, a person. Just to know clearly, this is the actual true nature of our body. Normally, we begin to see our body as not ours when it dies. Okay, that's very clear. Like I know one old gentleman when his wife died, he didn't believe the wife really died. You know, so he wanted to really go and see the body when it was embalmed. So he went there. He told me this story as an old man. So when they cut the body and took out the the what is inside the body and all that, he was shocked. He thought. Then he realized now he believes in rebirth and next life. Then he made a vow to himself: next birth, when I'm born, I'm not going to get married. Because he thought he would have got a real shock. What is this? All this time I thought was the real thing. And then, so like this, to see this only, now we have this. These are meditation objects. Okay. So I'm not telling when you look like this, you're going to become a monk or something. You will become more enlightened and you'll be able to control your sensual desires more easily. And you're not going to be a slave of your mind. You're going to be a master of your mind. Hmm? Otherwise, you'll be suffering, being like, driven by, you have more tools to control your desires. Okay. So this is this is just an example I'm reading. When you read like this, can you understand, all of you? And can you think about it and apply it? I used to do like that as a young boy. And I had an auntie who used to get very angry. And I told this story. And so I read this same part those days, and I used to apply and I used to think about it, and uh, so one day I was stubborn with her. Actually, my father told me to stay with her, and they went to Southern Africa again. Those days I was fully practicing, at the age of 18. So suddenly I want to go somewhere, and she has already taken me there. And those days there was LTT, Sri Lanka, the terrorist problem and all that. So where a lot of crowds, the relations, they don't want you to go. There could be a bomb somewhere and all that. So, but anyway, I was as a young boy very stubborn. I want to go. I already decided to go, and I didn't ask her, "Can I go?" I said, "I'm going." so, so she suddenly, I know she's hot tempered, but she has never scolded me. I have never stayed with her long. So this time, she was surprised that I just said, "I'm going," and this she shouted at me. "Wow, wow, wow, wow." You don't need to understand, to know someone is angry. So, and then immediately when she shouted, I have already read these things and been practicing. Then suddenly I was in that focus when she was shouting. Then I realized this ear, this is made out of these elements, and with this body only we are getting feelings, perceptions, and this body is like not me, and it's like parts. When you take away, it's empty. Then the feelings also are empty, perceptions also empty. So this was working in my mind, and when she was shouting, I was thinking about it, and then she realized I was not reacting at all. So this was the first and the last time she scolded me. So this is how it should happen. This should become practical. So this is the time when you are now here, you try to make it. This is also a perception in the mind. This is a perception that is an enlightened perception. Now you're creating, this is like a new thinking. So you slowly, this is why now you're here, you just read and contemplate a bit, see what you can practically apply, and we'll see what happens. Hmm. So I will not read further, just idea only. I read this part. Now, this is an important one. I'm going to go to the next page, page number 13. This connection you must clearly understand. These are all coming from the original Buddha's, recorded words. Page number 13. Dependent origination of consciousness. Okay. This is a very, very important topic. Okay. It's a very big contribution to the universe, to the world by a Buddha. Now he says, now though the one's eye be intact, yet if the external forms do not fall within the field of vision, and no corresponding conjunction of eye and forms takes place, in that case there occur no formation of the corresponding aspect of consciousness. Okay? Or though one's eye be intact and the external forms fall within the field of vision, yet if no corresponding conjunction takes place, in that case too there occurs no formation of the corresponding aspect of consciousness. If, however, one's eye is intact and the external forms fall within the field of vision, and the corresponding conjunction takes place, in that case there arises the corresponding aspect of consciousness. You can read the heading, dependent origination of consciousness. Okay. Now this is very important, a big revelation about our consciousness. Okay. It needs three factors. Without those three factors, it does not arise. Even though we have eye intact, yet if the external forms do not fall within the field of vision, and no corresponding conjunction of eye and forms takes place, in that case there occurs no formation of, then also the consciousness does not arise. Though the second one is, though the eye be intact and the external forms fall within the field of vision, yet if no corresponding conjunction takes place, you have an object as well as the eye, but still you are not, you don't have the conjunction take place. In that case too, there occurs no formation of the corresponding aspect of consciousness. And when these three come together, the external forms fall within the field, that one's eye is intact and the external forms fall within the field of vision, and the corresponding conjunction takes place. In that case, there arises the corresponding aspect of consciousness. When they say corresponding aspect of consciousness, you don't hear from your eyes, do you? You don't see from your ears. The hearing is only in this, with this organ. Okay? You don't taste from your nose. You don't taste from your eyes. It's with the tongue. So each organ has this corresponding consciousness with these corresponding conditions. So that's a very important thing. This is what happens. But in the modern time, is still in research, so they are still thinking the information goes to the brain and like that. So Buddha's way is not explained like that. It is immediately happening, with the eye and object and the eye consciousness, ear and object. The mind plays a big role. Okay, the brain plays a big role, but they are happening immediately. Each organ has their own single consciousness. Like if you have eye consciousness, you can't have ear consciousness same time. You have one consciousness arising all the time. So only it moves fast to the other and comes back to this. So that's why it looks very much like a permanent stream, but it's really fast, so fast. There's no even the speed how one consciousness to another changes. Hmm. Sorry. Yes. 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 Correct. Correct. Yeah. 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 Yes. It's a manasikara, like like it's a attention. You could say the right thing. Yeah. Yeah. Attention would be maybe better word sometimes conveying the right. Yeah. Don't just get an idea because it's happened so fast, but these three has to be there, and they are always like simultaneously. All is there. Soon as you have that attention and connection, a rupa. Yes, yes, yes. It's the initial, which is like a triggering. That's already consciousness is there, so it just triggers. Then the contact happens, and there's feeling, perception, and reaction. So, is this clear? It's a very deep subject we are going to. I'm sorry, you're going to experience this with me because it's going to give you all answers if you even give some understanding of life. And but I'm putting you into deep waters immediately, and later it might make sense. It body is not yours, but you're not in that awareness. You're it's not yours, but you're not in that realization. So when you're not in that realization, when you make karma again. Hmm? So like the body, like body is not yours because it is conditioned by the past karma, and when the past karma changes, the body is going to change beyond your desires or whatever, beyond your control. So the karma now you make, you, because you're not awakened, you're attached. You make karma when you attach, you react. And when you're having aversion, then also that's karma. Hmm? So does it answer? You have to explain again because I'm trying to get into your type of thinking. Tell me again. You mean now there are two. There's a result of karma that is also called karma. Vipaka is called. That means result. And there's now actively what you make now present karma. Hmm? The reaction part. Okay. So which one you think? Which one are you talking about? No, no, no. I think you're seeing some point. But is this clear? Like you have the reactive part of you, and then you have the result coming. Now I was talking about Buddha Gaya thing. Like my mother. Like that was the time that she reacted some way, and then now she's experiencing in this life in certain way. Yeah. Yes, it will change also. That also will help you not to react too much. You will accept it. That's one way. But this is better way, a stronger way when the way I saw now, like for example, I saw it like I was neutral, like with awareness, like with another perception of awakened plus perception more, that this body is not mine and the sounds or whatever perceptions that are created is not mine. It's just like, a phenomena happening. So that was more clearer. So now in the present moment, I was not reacting at all. So I would not have to face another auntie next life. The auntie who gets angry. This simple way, but it's more. We can't actually. Buddha says how karma operates. Not to think. It falls under four things that you should not think. But we know that law happens because it doesn't fall into where we can reason out and say, something that it's hidden, like that's why people who have that special vision, they get some connection. Oh, this is what you did to get this. Because I want to tell you, you might think today in the modern day, the operation of karma, that whether there is a law of karma, people have doubt, have no belief. Sometimes I had to show some my personal things, even in Melbourne, no? Melbourne, in one of the programs for young kids. They because they were also thinking monks, all this is all hocus pocus maybe, and there's nothing in this. And so I was supposed to give a talk to them, and then I had to show something personal of mine to prove about karma. Of course, somebody also said this regarding, it might be also like the Shastra. That's why Buddha told not to do this, because people can put it down, some magic or some kind of miracles. Buddha was not allowing monks to do, because it can be mixed with people who do with kind of, this this thing. But sometimes, unfortunately, I have to do it in this modern day to give them some. It's not nice, the younger people, going stray so much. So regarding karma, I had to show even some experience I had with some rishis many years back, and something they told me, and I have written down in a postcard, still in my bag. And then after many years, I didn't know it was there in my bag, and then I. I was living a completely different life. No one would imagine what they said was happening, would happen. And then last year, there's a lot of change. I took over that monastery and ashram or monastery, and started training people and all these things. So while I was there in the kuti, the room which is for me there, I suddenly came across the postcard, and I suddenly saw what I have written, dates and just numbers. I was reading something. I was going through that right that moment when I was reading back again. So this I could see is a karmic pattern. Definitely, they see a karma, definite karma that's going to happen. Not everything, some things. So this, at least this, we must feel and feel this. Now, even meeting you all or this thing, then otherwise, if you don't, it's only in the book. Some, karma. We must know also there is that law does operate. Then we have a greater purpose why we are meditating. To stop this, to reduce this, and to be careful next life also what's going to happen. Doesn't matter, but at least in this life, so it's one of the right views the Buddha want us to have as a worldly right view, is to know about the law of karma, know about the existence of other heavens, that the heavens and other worlds do exist, and the benefit of disciplining and renouncing sensual desires. And there's a harm in sensual desires. Like that, the Buddha has a basic knowledge as right view, as not at the highest right view, but you must have that to go to the highest right view, like a basic knowledge. Now, some people also complain in Sri Lanka regarding I bring the rishis too much. Even last year, what happened and all that. Not everybody, some, but I bring it to why? To show the importance of the Buddha's teaching, not for any other purpose, and my personal experience. It's not something of course, I'm sharing some of my personal experience. and what happened, but just to show the importance of this. But some are narrow-minded, and what can you do? There are many in the world like that. But I have no time. I'm also giving and leaving. So whoever will take something. I can't take the whole world with me. Sorry. Yeah. But I am now, because going to the public more and more now. So, but I have been warned by some of my teachers, go like an elephant. Dogs will bark everywhere, but elephant will be going right. Okay, so this you must be clear. Hence, I say the rising of consciousness is dependent upon conditions, and without these conditions, no consciousness arises. And upon whatsoever conditions, the rising of consciousness is dependent. After these, it is called consciousness whose arising depends on eye and forms is called eye consciousness. Consciousness whose arising depends on ear and sounds is called ear consciousness. This is what I told last time, that like you can't smell from your tongue, you can't taste this idea. Okay, it's clear, right? Each consciousness arises based on the different organs. All right, because because the Buddha also states very clearly, it will be only just a imagination if someone thinks there's something beyond this. So problem is, our Sinhalese people also, they just blindly believe. Buddha says, okay, I'm silent. But it should be also clear in a certain way that this is very important to know, that is coming conditionally, and also it has karma very much. So we can't create the karma. Karma is invisible thing that, as a force that comes. So that is also seen only by the divine vision, divine people who have that access to that very unseen aspect of our being, the karma path. And it is possible to know. That's very possible. Karma is karma to be known. I told you some rishis, they see bodies only, and then when they see the bodies, I'm sorry, they see the karma of not a body, what's going through. So that's their consciousness is more, more their their consciousness is more, like of a higher nature. They are seeing not people. They have also reduced their desires to a certain extent of the sensual world. They are not seeing, perceiving the gross material bodies too much, or material aspect. You see, more intuition is working more from the mind. That is the mind consciousness. I also had some glimpses of some things, like with my father. I have told this, like mm, when I was having difficulty, he wanted me to go another way when I was young, and I want to go another way. So those days also I was meditating, and this was in one forest monastery just before I was leaving to the airport, and like 4 days before. So internally I was a little rebelling, why I should go to all these material things, to university or all that. But I didn't, go against him. I was peacefully accepting. I was already meditating. So when I was doing the walking meditation in this forest at Attanagalla, in Sri Lanka, suddenly I felt very solitary. I felt it's animals and devas and me only. And suddenly this aspect, maybe it was working in my mind slightly, suddenly became clear. Due to my father's previous karma, how I am coming as a child for him, and how according to my karma, this father is karma. And that's it's not his fault nor my fault. Like that, it gave me a lot of peace and accepted the situation. It's just like intuitive, I would say. It's a very, so even this seeing these truths, also it will become intuitive, very fine. It's not going to be like with crackers and you see, oh, enlightenment is like that. No, it's going to be very fine while you're walking. Like Newton, for example, when the apple fell down, had this theory of gravity. No, it's something similar to that. That's why I tell you, just read, just walk and contemplate. No, no, not like that. They can even just think like this and then know the person's, like just focusing on that soul wherever they are. That also is possible. Just by You must also practice that and see. I can't explain to you because I have experience with them. Very interesting, very interesting. I mean, if I ask about somebody or something, also they would immediately go to the person's details and also explain something if I want to know. Has happened like that. Not one time, many times. Sorry. Mm, more than even details you didn't notice. There was a time that no one saw me. Shall I tell one? Do you like to know? One time I used to do this, before Kailash, I used to do some exercise, like because I had to prepare for high altitude. So early morning where nobody sees me in Nepal, I used to go for the exercise, climbing up. And so I had this pair of boots, getting used to the boots also. So, these boots, it was annoying me because the lacing was always coming out. So, like in the one bridge when I crossed, when I was going a little fast, I tied it one time, and then there was like a holy place, like a temple. There the stairs are there, so it's a covering place. Nobody can see you. Like I was alone there, and I tied again, and I was really angry with the shoe. Why the lacing coming out again, and I just did like that. And when I went up, and later on, many days later, um, I happened to encounter this particular, person, and he suddenly he said that day you were going joyfully, joyfully. Actually, yeah, when I after my meditation, I go joyfully outside. So from where I was staying in Nepal, Kathmandu, after meditation, that time I went out, and then he said, "Well, why you angry with your lace?" So it's like they've been just there, just one. There's so many occasions. Then that makes you also feel to be careful what you're doing. Even whatever you are doing is known by a certain, That's why Buddha says the devas, you can't hide from the devas or the divine vision. And even if you can hide, it's not practical. You can't hide from the true Dhamma. Mm, yeah, it's another aspect because more you develop your consciousness or for higher consciousness, you'll be aware of things that you're normally not aware suddenly. But now we are trying to also be aware. But this is not, this is a very special one which is going to stop your karma, clear your karma. Now, some of these retreats, yes, in Sri Lanka, some of them were expecting me also to do like this. Some boy I remember, he was not reading, doing nothing. He was so agitated. I saw him. So end of the retreat, 5 days or 10 days, I can't remember. He gave me a letter. He was because I don't meet people too much in Sri Lanka. I will do the thing and go. So he has written in the letter. I said I promised him. Of course, I read the letter. So he had written. I was so disappointed. He said I was expecting you will tell at least 13 birds back what happened to me, what I'm doing. I thought you will explain to me, but you didn't do any of that. And like that, and he has said, put a what is this contact number that to contact him. And actually, I felt sorry. If I have time, definitely I'll contact him. And but he doesn't know. There's no time to explain all these things. Now, what you're doing is 13 births back. Your karma is going to be cleared. It's like giving you medicine already. I mean, this thing, your nature of becoming greedy, angry will be should reduce for sure when you're doing what I'm telling you to do. And so there's no time for that, and definitely there'll be that change in a more practical way rather than spending time. Like there are these some of the rishis in India that they would do that. They're famous for that, and they come and do that, and they will also give you some kind of practice to do to clear your karma. But I don't know what you're doing now is that there can be anything better to clear your karma as wisdom. It can shorten your karma, burn your karma fast. I don't think anything there is more faster than that. and more powerful than that. So one, we must do this now. Too many questions. Okay. Otherwise, we'll be making karma now, not clearing karma. Then, no, good. You must ask questions if you like. Okay. You're free. All of you are free. I like if you do. Um, so this is clear, right? Now here in the page number 14, consciousness whose arising depending on the mind and mind objects is called mind consciousness. Whatsoever there is of corporeality, rupa, on that occasion, this belongs to the group of corporeality. Whatsoever there is of feeling, this belongs to the group of feeling. Whatsoever there is of perception, this belongs to the group of perception. Whatsoever there is of mental formations, this belongs to the group of mental formations. Whatsoever there is of consciousness, this belongs to the group of consciousness. Now, this is telling any moment of experience, conscious moment. That time, the ear you had is the corporeality, okay? And the I told you like any feeling you experience is the part of feeling. Any perception you experience is the part of perception. So any reaction you had, it is now here called mental formations, right? What is called, yeah, mental formations, the reaction thing. So that is called mental formations. So there are just five things that happen. You must know. That's what we call ourself. That's what we call this is me, this is I, and all. Okay. Page number 15. Individual existence as well as the whole world is in reality nothing but a process of ever changing. Now, this is written by the author of this book. Okay. This is not the Buddha's words itself, but this is also helpful. Individual existence as well as the whole world is in reality nothing but the process of ever changing phenomena, which are all comprised in the five groups of existence. This process has gone on from time immemorial. Am I right? After a long time, tongue twisting word. Before one's birth and also after one's death, it will continue for endless periods of time, as far as there are conditions for it. As stated in the preceding text, the five groups of existence, either taken separately or combined, in no way constitute a real ego entity or subsisting personality, and equally no self, soul, or substance can be found outside of these groups as their owner. In other words, the five groups of existence are no self, nor do they belong to a self. In view of the impermanence and conditionality of all existence, the belief in any form of self must be regarded as an illusion. Just as what we designate by the name chariot has no existence apart from axle, wheels, shafts, body, and so forth, or as the word house is merely a convenient designation for various materials put together after a certain fashion, so as to enclose a portion of space. And there is no separate house entity in existence. In exactly the same way, that which we call a being or an individual or a person or by the name I is nothing but a changing combination of physical and mental phenomena and has no real existence in itself. This in brief the anatta doctrine of the Buddha, the teaching that all existence is void of a permanent self or substance. So it is completely ego dissolving vision. So it's, you could say that it will make you completely pure as possible. It is the fundamental Buddhist doctrine not found in any other religious teaching or philosophical system. To grasp it fully, not only in an abstract and intellectual way, but by constant reference to actual experience, is an indispensable condition for the true understanding of the Buddha Dhamma and for the realization of its goal. The Anatta doctrine is the necessary outcome of the thorough analysis of actuality undertaken in the doctrine of the five aggregates, of which only a bare indication can be given by means of the text included here. I think it's self explanatory and is clear, right? Page number 18. The wheel of existence, the perpetual wandering, is the name given in Pali scriptures to the sea of life, ever restlessly heaving up and down, the symbol of this continuous process of ever again and again being born, growing old, suffering, and dying. More precisely put, samsara is the unbroken sequence of fivefold kanda combinations, which constantly changing from moment to moment, follow continually one upon the other through an inconceivable period of time of this samsara. A single lifetime constitutes only a tiny fraction. Hence, to be able to comprehend the first noble truth, that means the truth of suffering, one must let one's gaze rest upon the samsara, upon this frightful sequence of rebirths, and not merely upon one single lifetime, which of course may sometimes be not very painful. The term suffering in the First Noble Truth therefore refers not merely to painful bodily and mental sensations due to unpleasant impressions, but comprises in addition everything productive of suffering or liable to it. The truth of suffering teaches that, owing to the universal law of impermanence, even high and sublime states of happiness are subject to change, destruction, and that all existence of states of existence are therefore unsatisfactory without exception, carrying in themselves the seeds of suffering. Page number 21. Dependent origination of all phenomena. Now, this is a very mm, this is all called the wheel of life, and this is the conditioned nature, which is the Buddha's most. Of course, all this is all deep in different approaches. So, um, I think you should be you should have already read one other discourse. It's called Samadhi Sutta. Do you know the number of that sutta? Do you have this big book? I think tomorrow, because today you must read that book, okay? I tell the page, the right view in the big book. These two tonight you must read. Only Samadhi Sutta. Page, page. No, not the signal. English one. Oh, wait. You have to read also. Okay. Yeah. 319. Tonight you must read that, right? Before you, because you have to cover 319 and uh, and 5, page 5 and 12. 5, 12 and 319. 5, 12 and 319. Okay. Maybe you'll have to get some idea. Have you ever heard about this? Have you ever taught about the 12 leagues? No? Not familiar, eh? Okay. Let me go through that slowly. Let's see. That it is said, that there's like a wheel of life. It is called. It is the most deepest secret. Buddha become Buddha by knowing this wheel of life. He become enlightened. Okay. So it's not going to be just to have some idea. It's very simple in this thing. So you have ignorance on top. Ignorance of, like, not knowing this world is an illusion, or that's what ignorance. So you're reacting, right? when you see things as this is like very real, you'll get attached and you get angry and all that. So that reaction we know already, that reaction part. So that is because of ignorance only you get that reaction. That is the cause for that reaction. If you are awakened like that with that knowledge about the final truths of life, or you're seeing things all as atoms or like that, then you will see things objectively, not subjectively. Okay, so not seeing like that is already your ignorance is less. So less you are ignorance, your reaction is less. So that is the conditioned thing. More you have ignorance, you'll be reacting. Okay, so when you have no ignorance, your reaction will be less. So that is the first cause. That's a very big cause. So that reaction creates karma. Okay, so karma is the cause for you getting consciousness. So to create the field for consciousness, we need an organ and an object, the surrounding. So these are the result for the karma to happen. That is the result of your karma. Okay, so sankara pachya vinya consciousness. The sankara is that means the reaction is the cause of consciousness. Okay, the like for example, a frog has a different consciousness. You don't have frog doesn't have a human being. He sees the world completely different. Okay, because that body brings that particular consciousness. This body brings this particular consciousness. Okay, even in the same family, sometimes in your family members, they are going through different experiences because their karma is different now, though they are with you together in a monastery or anywhere. You can know that. Even the office or working places, your colleagues, they are in the same place, but you're going through different lives. Some are going through a lot of trauma, some are going through a lot of happy news, due to different karma. So this link is very simple. Okay, the ignorance is the cause for reaction. Reaction is the karma. That karma is the cause for consciousness. Okay, consciousness. So when you have less ignorance, you will have less reactive nature, and because of less reaction, you'll have less consciousness. Okay, so they are interconnected. So Buddha is trying to show Buddha is showing actually that this one is the cause for the other. So what he does is he removes the causes. He removes ignorance. Then the effect will not happen. That's how we find the solution for suffering. Okay? Just keep that in. I mean, it is going to be, this is so these links that I explained depend on origination of all phenomena. This is also another way of showing it. But this is very good to contemplate while you're walking meditation. There's a lot of stuff now in just few hours, right? But I think you all will digest. Otherwise, we are not meeting like this. Okay. Okay. So page 21, right? There's no time to read. Page 21. Dependent origination of all phenomena. If when now even these teachings, if you are not a meditator and you're not experiencing, you will not know. This is not what these words are, just pointers, but in your meditation you will get a entirely different experience. So that's why some people, they try to get explanations of these words, definitions. They go too much into the definition and they miss the point. Some of these teachings Buddha never taught until the person is prepared. What we are now really studying now, he waited sometimes 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 10 years. When he saw the faculties were ripe, only he talked about these things. But unfortunately, I'm not a Buddha, so now I'm giving you a general this thing and see. At least the possibilities are given. So don't worry if you understand or not. Even some who are really like scholars have never understood. Okay, so only people who have experience in some meditation, they know how it triggers a vision. Remember that it's not it's a divine vision, a purified divine vision. Okay, it's with we call it bojjhanga and all that when those work. The names are there, but now you're in the process of actually activating that. You're not going too much intellectually.
Looks like you're getting a lot of knowledge, but now you'll be also living alone, contemplating. So it's going to be most, you're going to try to experience something. It doesn't mean you have to know all these books to know. It could be just one word, one verse, one link that you contemplate. It's like that, okay? So don't worry if you don't understand in order or you don't understand. It just doesn't matter. But you understand even just one word, that will be enough. If when perceiving a visual object, 21 page, if when perceiving a visual object, a sound, odor, or taste, or bodily impression, or a mental object, the object is pleasant, one is attracted. And if the object is unpleasant, one is repelled. Thus, whatever kind of feeling one experiences, pleasant, unpleasant, or indifferent, if one approves of and cherishes the feeling and clings to it, then while doing so, lust springs up. But lust for feelings means cling, and on cling depends process of becoming. Now here is another link Buddha is telling. It comes later on. That's why I told you, tonight you can read the other one. When you desire something and when you accept the feeling, you crave for something, then you're clean. You next effect will be you cling for it. When you cling, something disturb happen to what you're clean, you will feel anger. Okay, clinging itself will create karma. It's creating karma. Okay, make you react. That is a reaction, of course, and then that is creating karma. And what you cling, if you don't get, then you get anger. That's also a reaction. Okay, that is karma. So when you are experiencing now, you're feeding this life process, means existence process. That is, when you're reacting like that, that is called karma bhava. Hmm? Buddha's a process of becoming, the karmic process. You are already activating that. Okay, you're creating future karma to happen. So when there's future karma accumulated by you, there will be birth. Okay, the birth will happen. When birth is there, then you will have old age and death. Okay, so this is very important link. At least theoretically, just this idea you must have. All right. And I'm going to also now explain something deep what my teacher taught. I'm just trying to put you deep down, okay? So then when you're there and later something you might know. Because I have no other gift to give you. Okay, these things, at least these 5 days, 4 days, no? Okay, it's very short time, but we'll try to do something. Something will happen definitely. Just have some patience. 3 days, wait, have some patience. Give me 3 days, okay? Thus arises the whole mass of suffering. Okay, this is a good this thing to contemplate while you're walking. Just read this and maybe think about it, how these links work. All right. Um, so it is said, if you approve of the cherishes the feeling and clings to it, then while doing so, lust springs up. But lust for feelings means clinging. So when you cling dependent depends the present process of becoming. On the process on the process of becoming bhava is karma bhava. It's called karmic process. You're already activating it, and depending on the karma you have, because you have karma, you have rebirth, birth happening. So some of you, okay, might not at once now even think whether there could be rebirth and karma. Okay, do you think there's some karma for you to come here? Just think it's working. If you didn't have karma, do you think you'll come here? What do you think? Okay. Okay. So first you heard from somewhere, somebody, maybe, someone told that there's such a program. Then you felt like coming. Okay. Maybe now you feel like going. Okay. So you felt like coming. All right. So now it's now taking place, the result. Okay. Now you're staying. Same way, the last moment when you are dying, if you have ever worked with hospice and all that, maybe you would have noticed, people, have last thought, and we are very concerned to give them a good last thought. That's why we bring the, the priest or someone to chant. This the people have instinctively, that feeling. There's a big thing about it. The last thought determines your, because the thought is the object for consciousness. Without a thought, we don't get the conditions for consciousness is there. Okay, this is very important point. Like even your other faculties will be there, but your mind will be active. You will have some thought. So normally I have known people who have gone to near death experience and come out, and they tell, like people who have been married and all that, normally they remember their children. There's so much attachment to their children. Okay, where you are very attached to, that will be most probable you are going to get. So you get a thought of your child means, then the, do you know, now we know the consciousness needs conditions. Do you think when you get a thought like that, the conditions for consciousness is there or not there? What do you think? Yeah, okay. That's clear. That's very important. Okay. It's there. So now, based on what karma you have done, you will get that last thought, okay, in the present life also. So now, say there is a state in Buddha's sainthood, in the monks, like where they attain is called never returner. Okay, never returner means he has no desires in the five sense world, and so he's not going to be reborn here, but he still has attachments and karma to peacefulness in his meditation. He's attached to his meditation. So this name is given called anagami. Anagami means non-returner. Okay, according to the rebirth cycle. So now he has no last thoughts. Definitely will not get last thoughts about the five senses. Okay, because he has no attachment to that, and his karma is also finished in that. But still he has desire for peacefulness and all that. Okay, he is not removed his desire for that. He has not completed his wisdom completely. When he dies, what do you think? Now, in all these people, they have a last breath. Okay, remember this. They all have a last breath. So, what do you think the first person who have still attachment to family and working and everything, and he has accumulated karma, and he will get the last thought also? Do you think he will be observing the last breath, or will he be with the last thought? What do you think? The first person, when he's dying, what did, sorry, Putajan, yeah. What do you think? He'll be with the, so he will not be aware of the last breath. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so he seemed to know all this terminology, yeah? Putajan. Okay, so all of you are maybe quite very good. Anyway, it's easy for me a little bit. So, but you're still keeping something in your mind which you don't want anyone to know. Okay, right. Uh, so then the other person, the non-return, for example, okay, this you have to be clear. It's good that you're clear like that. The non-returner, he has no attachments to the, like a prutajana, no attachment to the this thing, but still he's still non-returner means he's still going to be born somewhere. So will he will he be able to keep to the last breath? Huh? So do you think he has? This is a very tricky question. Okay, you must think in terms of whether he has karma to get distracted, whether he has a last thought. That's how you must think. Whether he has those things or not. What do you think? He has or not? He has. Okay. To what? To maybe that peacefulness he's attached to. So that becomes an object for what? Conditions for consciousness, right? Hmm? Conditions are there for consciousness. So he will be distracted by that. And then will he be able to keep his last attention to the breath? No. Right? Do you get that? Hmm? Because he has still karma in that world to be born, and he has desire still. He has not overcome desire completely. He has overcome desire in the sensual world for sure, but he still has for the divine world, for peacefulness, for purity. Okay, so that becomes an object. That's also a feeling. That is, we have three feelings: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling. So he's with that neutral feeling. So that thought, he will be distracted. Okay, so when he's distracted, that means, is there conditions for consciousness or not? What do you think? There's conditions. Okay, and when there's conditions, consciousness will arise. If there's consciousness arise, there will be name and form, there will be rebirth. Okay, this is a very very mysterious thing and a deep one. Okay, now say the enlightened one, the arahant, he has no desires whatsoever. Okay, no karma also. When the last breath goes, can he keep his attention to the breath? He has no desire for breath or anything, just he keeps his focus there. Can he keep or not? Hmm? He can keep, right? So just imagine yourself like you're an arahant, and when the last breath goes, you keep there. So, is there any conditions formed for consciousness to arise? The conditions are there or not for another consciousness? Hmm? So my, because it's just there and no object, because consciousness needs an object to arise. So no object, it is just kept there, and the last breath goes. If he keeps like that, the conditions are not there, the consciousness do not arise. Okay? And my teacher is to explain this to me like this, and he's to warn me it's deep. Okay? So I also put you in that situation. One day this secret might become a wow experience to you. I will guarantee you, if you stick to this practice, you might know something very deep about consciousness. Even Deepak Chopra, they talk about a pure consciousness and all that, but how the consciousness will completely not arise, that then only the rebirth process will stop, and then the suffering will stop. So anyway, I'm happy you all are, this silence shows that something is working in your deep brain. Okay, keep that in your mind, and let's read this, because the other things will become very meaningful with this explanation. Okay, what we are going to do in these 3 days, 4 days. Who have samadhi? What I know is that samadhi does not guarantee. I have my personal experience also. Like when I was, like in the jungle, when I was wounded by poisonous leaves, and I was looked after by robbers. I don't know if people know about my past some experience. And then I was trying to, I had some samadhi ability to suppress any pain or feeling, especially with the head area. The pain is powerful. I couldn't concentrate, couldn't get the samadhi. Samadhi needs a certain comfort zone. That's why it's unreliable. That's why at that time you get irritated or agitated, then you can go to even a lower birth. So, but if it's very mastered strongly, and there are, I know some people, they will also know their karma also, they will know the moment they are leaving the body. Understand the last. They will come to the students, some of they also rishis again. I'm sorry if I talk too much about rishis. So they would come and they present to themselves and they will just demonstrate them. But they are going very high to, they have mastered the, but doesn't mean after long, Buddha had teachers like that. Uddakaram, Putta, Alaram, Kara, Nesanya, Nasanya, Arupi, formless body, formless Rupa. We also not following Buddha's teaching. How many of us? Hmm? No, they have awakened to some kind of consciousness. That's why they appreciate now the ones that I met actually. That's why they encourage me to follow that. They call this no me meditation. That I have not done much of that, and I should do that. And I don't believe they do it. I think they're just driven, like Sahampati Brahmadivirajan was. Though he appreciated the Buddha, worshipped him, and even but I don't think he attained anything. So I see them like that. I see the ones I met, and yeah, they would see your internal. They're seeing some truths about you, or not only you, about life. About they have touched certain. Um, when Buddha had this, yeah, I would say maybe one day they are going to be a Buddha, maybe like a Bodhisattva. Do you get that? You seem to have a skeptical idea about these rishis because maybe it's new to you, no? Maybe it's like, right. Mine is too. I think I have been too long with these teachers in previous lives. Though I am going, they'll be there with me. So, and also the Dhamma. Dhamma is in a different way. I think like with the Arahants in the olden time, because I even be in the ruins where some ancient Arahants inspire me a lot. So, but more than that, I see now the Dhamma. Dhamma is something that it's a universal thing, and if you touch that, means you're gone. Either you know it or the answer. Where other experiences, which where you can place them. Otherwise, we will place them, from theoretically. For example, we every religion is telling, that's the greatest, that is the highest. Everybody, when you go there into their community, they will all tell, this is the only way and all that. So that's not the real way. If you have experience, and then you see for yourself how much this makes you purified. I see Buddhists also, no, they are not Buddhists. No, they see things as permanent. They will shout at things. They will react to things. They are labeled Buddhists. And so hopefully, I don't know, in Sri Lanka and whoever I try to encourage, especially these retreats. It has turned a big chapter uh, because I've been close to all this. I've been a forest monk, and there all these phases of even Somahamdru, for example. They refer to the suttas, no doubt, but in he has told me also how to do some of the things, but they are like certain. They stop at a little level of knowledge, but he has made it also some experience. So Mahandra, they also practice, but not going straight to attaining Nibbana as the time of Buddha's time. I mean, of course, he didn't give it to the public. He would have known, because he also told me one time, if you want to attain now, then just read through the Samyutta Nikaya, the suttas. I remember those days. Already we know, I have known from my German Bante many years back that this sutta, directly we go to that to if you want to attain that. And is today still attainable. So I see many other movements that they have coming to a point where like today is maybe not possible. The way how it's approached. So now, I don't know, after when I'm also getting old and this time is coming, I'm not telling unnecessarily, like telling, oh, it's not possible, possible. No. I'm telling that why don't you, without trying, how do you know? So now you're trying the retreat, now you're practicing, you're putting you're trotting the path. And one day you'll have to. And if you want to be liberated, and if you can read now and contemplate, why not? Then you're creating the cause for becoming enlightened. And if you can't, if you're not, if one is not still like a zombie or something which you can't do now, you can do it. The books are available. You have enough food. You have shelter. What is the thing that is lacking? The confidence that you can attain. That's what's lacking, I think. And there are people prematurely going without experiencing. This is what I see. They go with full force, and then later on, uh, they have been so hurried to give the Dhamma to others, but not experiencing themselves. Then that conviction won't come. And 24, page number 24. So that one, that part, you keep it in mind. I am very happy you all are, you seem to be sensitive to what is. This is a very, that's a very deep aspect, this deep part. So even like it becoming clear to you in a theoretical way is very important. And one day, if you're going to, now when you're this time doing touching the original sutras of the Buddha, because we are going to read most of the sutras which made enlightened arhants. So it's going to more become, going to make you clear about it in the coming days. And that will be a liberating thing for your whole life. I would tell you that, because it's that's where the enlightenment could happen. So, Buddha has told also, whoever sees the teaching will see me. Whoever sees me will see this teaching. So the teaching is the conditioned nature, conditionality. And this is not by words, it's like some idea. You have to think of the teachings, and then that will become clear suddenly. So meanwhile, you must also practice not too much compassion meditation and anapanasati, looking at the breath, calm down and go within you. But daytime, don't practice more than 1 hour. But more reading, you'll have to continue reading, because by tomorrow morning, you'll have to finish this. Have you all finished? I think you all would have finished, some of you. Have you finished? Have you finished this book? Have you all finished? When you finish? මේක ඉවර කරාද අදම? කොහොම ඉවරයිද නෑ? Most tomorrow morning you must finish this book. Okay? And because we'll be start, because we have only how many days tomorrow? The second noble truth serves also to explain the causes of the seeming injustices in nature, by teaching that nothing in the world can come into existence without reason or cause, and that not only our latent tendencies but our whole destiny, all weal and woe, result from causes which we have to seek partly in this life, partly in former states of existence. These causes are the life affirming activities, karma, produced by body, speech, and mind. Hence, it is this threefold action that determines the character and destiny of all beings. Exactly defined, karma donates those good and evil volitions, causing rebirth and shaping the destinies of beings. Thus, existence, or better, the process of becoming, consists of an active and conditioning karma process. Buddha, I think this might be Mali. This also might help you to just some idea. Consisting of an active and conditioning karma process and its result, the rebirth process. Here too, when considering karma, one must not lose sight of the impersonal nature of existence. In the case of a storm swept sea, it is not an identical wave that hastens over the surface of the ocean, but it is the rising and falling of quite different masses of water. In the same way, it should be understood that there are no real ego entities hastening through the ocean of rebirth, but merely life waves which, according to their nature and activities, manifest themselves here as humans, there as animals, and elsewhere as invisible beings. Once more, the fact may be emphasized here that, correctly speaking, the term karma signifies only the aforementioned kinds of action themselves, and does not mean or include their results. 26 page. Dependent extinction of all phenomena. Now, this one you must relate to the one we read before. Okay. In 21, page 21, dependent origination of all phenomena. Okay. Now, the dismantling of our suffering. This is this way and the other way. Okay. This is very good to think about while you're walking meditation. Okay. When these conditions are not there, this cause will not happen. Like that, this thinking is the one that will bring you that spark. It will not come in a day or this thing, unless we don't know, it's, but at least you're doing the things that will make it happen. Okay. Dependent extinction of all phenomena. So don't be in a hurry. Don't think now it will happen, now it will happen. Okay. And through the total dependent extinction of all phenomena, and through the total fading away and extinction of craving, clinging is extinguished. Through the extinction of clinging, the process of becoming is extinguished. So you must mentally picture this. I have told you in a short explanation. Um, Normally, when we get some, feelings or whatever through the senses, we crave, and when we crave a lot, it becomes cling, and when we cling, we create karma. We react. Okay, if you take it in very simple terms, so then we accumulate karmic process. Karmic processes we accumulate of becoming, then that will bring you the last moment, the last thought. Now you can understand it better. You get a last thought based on your karma to go to the next birth, and you get a consciousness, and it will start working. Then the rebirth will happen, jati. And when there's rebirth, you will have old age and death. Okay, so now here in this case, and through the total fading away and extinction of craving, okay, the clinging is extinguished. Through the extinction of clinging, the process of becoming is extinguished. Through the extinction of karmic process of becoming, rebirth is extinguished. And through the extinction of rebirth, decay and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are extinguished. Thus comes about the extinction. Now, this is to be visualized mentally. Then it becomes a meditation object. Okay? Hence, the annihilation and cessation and overcoming of form, corporeality, feeling, perception, and mental formations and consciousness. This is the extinction of suffering and the end of disease, the overcoming of old age and death. The undulatory, how do you pronounce this? Undulatory. Is it correct? Quite. Okay. Okay. Okay, motion which we call a wave and which in the ignorant spectator creates the illusion of one and the same mass of water moving over the surface of the lake is produced and fed by the wind and maintained by the stored up energies. Now, after the wind has ceased, and if no fresh wind again whips up the water of the lake, the stored up energies will gradually be consumed, and thus the whole undulatory motion will come to an end. Similarly, if fire does not get new fuel, it will, after consuming all the old fuel, become extinct. This is a big point about Buddha's way of removing suffering. Okay. Just in the same way, this five khandha process, which in the ignorant worldling creates the illusion of a self, is produced and fed by the life affirming craving, and maintained for some time by means of the stored up life energies. Now, after the fuel upadana, the craving and the clinging to life has ceased, and if no new craving impels again, this five khandha process, life will continue as long as there are still life energy stored up. But at their destruction, at death, the five khandha process will reach the final extinction. These are good explanations. Okay. 29 page, just we read this also. Buddha is telling, truly there is a realm where there is neither the solid nor the fluid, nor heat nor motion, neither this world nor any other world, neither sun nor moon. This I call neither rising nor passing away, neither standing still nor being born nor dying. There is neither foothold nor development nor any basis. This is the end of suffering. There is an unborn, unoriginated, uncreated, unformed. If there were not this unborn, unoriginated, uncreated, unformed, escape from the world of the born, the originated, the created, the formed would not be possible. But since there is an unborn, unoriginated, uncreated, unformed, therefore escape is possible from the world of the born, the originated, the created, the formed. 43, page number 43. I know this is the sleeping time, right? 9 o'clock, I heard in Australia. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm also late. So, view and discussions about the self. 43, page. Now, if someone should say that the feeling is his self, he should be answered thus. There are three kinds of feeling: pleasurable, painful, and indifferent feeling. Which of these three feelings do you consider as yourself? Because at the moment of experiencing one of these feelings, one does not experience the other two. These three kinds of feelings are impermanent, of dependent origin. Now, when you read this, already you have known. How do you get a feeling? You have an object and the eyes, and there's eye consciousness. You have an ear and an object, you have ear consciousness. And with the contact of that, you have feeling arising. Okay? So you know the object out of you, that is outside object, is impermanent. It will not last forever. And you know the eyes you are having is also changing immediately. And also after a long period of time, it completely changes also. So this way you know it's changing. So this is a changing thing. These three kinds of feelings are impermanent, of dependent origin, are subject to decay and dissolution, to fading away and extinction. Whoever in experiencing one of these feelings thinks that this is his self must, after the extinction of that feeling, admit that his self has become dissolved. And thus he will consider his self already in this present life as impermanent, mixed up with pleasure and pain, subject to arising and passing away. If anyone should say, so the feeling cannot be his self. Okay? If anyone should say that feeling is not his self and that his self is inaccessible to feeling, he should be asked thus: now, where there is no feeling, is it then possible to say, this am I? Or another might say, feeling indeed is not myself, but it is also untrue that myself is inaccessible to feeling. For it is myself that feels, myself that has the faculty of feeling. Such a one should be answered thus: suppose that feeling should become altogether totally extinguished. Now, if after the extinction of feeling, no feeling whatsoever exists there, is it then possible to say, this am I? It's very interesting. This idea of I, how it arises. Say sometimes you all are seated like this, on the ground. I mean, it happens to me, like my leg gets numb because of lack of flow of blood. And then you might sometimes not feel the leg at all. Okay. And even if you don't see from your eyes also the leg, sometimes you might think, do I have a leg? Like, so even in that small experience, you will know with feeling only you get the idea of I. It's an idea. It does not exist really. Okay. So even in this case, it's explained when it changes from pleasant to unpleasant. The pleasant feeling you thought is me. Then when it changed to unpleasant, how can it change? Um, then it can't change. You yourself cannot be something that changes like that. It should be something that does not change. So that's how this idea of no self is known. That there's no person. This is only an idea, phantom, kind of an illusion. So it or normally this awareness does not come because you crave a lot. Because of the craving, the idea of I also comes. More the craving, the idea of I is more. The ego is more. Because the delusion is more. Your perverted vision is more. You have you have clearer vision, you have less craving, and you have less idea of I, sense of I, wrong sense of I, deluded sense of I. So they are like three together going. So if you have zero craving, that will happen when you have full wisdom. Now, these things, if it becomes very clear, I tell that it's like a snake. Someone tells there's a snake in this hall. So you're looking. Bante said there's a snake. But suddenly you see the tail of the snake somewhere. You get a shock. Okay. Same way when you're reading these things, when you're meditating, you might get some glimpses. I told you they create a vision. That clarity, if it comes, that will create some shock. So that shock is normally called in the Pali language nibbindati. But that leads to nibbindati nirodeti nibbananti. It makes you experience nibbana, nirvana, right? So I've just told you something to inspire you or to encourage you. There is such experience. You might know it some theoretical way also that is necessary initially, and now you're given your opportunity to continue thinking when you're reading. Then we'll see. Hmm? I know at least you're doing something. At least you understood the initial one part I told. That is good enough. Whole secret is in that. That connection and that reasoning out. If you only know that part, you don't need all these books. This. But let us listen to Buddha in so many ways to trigger, maybe to trigger it more. Okay, not maybe, it will definitely trigger it. Okay, this is understood, right? This one, what we read now already, is it understood? Now, if someone should say that the feeling is his self, he should be answered thus. There are three kinds of feeling: pleasurable, painful. So, which one is yours? Like Buddha is questioning, just to show that that idea of self is it's not real. This can't be a changing thing. So, this is something to also contemplate in your walking meditation. These are things when you're thinking like that, then it will become clear to you personally. My teacher did not read like this and explain like this. Okay, I am doing this like spoon feeding you all. You understand? Tell you honestly, we were so interested. We got the books. We went and we did the thing. Not too many people. Of course, he was a loner. He would not allow anyone to be with him. So I had the good karma that time. He was in the island hermitage, and I went there and he invited me. Actually, he told me there are empty kutis, and that was really life changing to me. I was very serious. Those days I got the books. He told me to read this, read that. Same thing what you all are doing. I'm giving the same course because I had some experience with that. And then I can tell you all also, you can do that. And that time, it was very beautiful scenery in that island hermitage. There's a nice lagoon and all that. I made sure I didn't look at the lagoon also. I took it as something sensual. And like that, I restrained my senses so that I was developing more of my attention to the present moment and my body. Like that, I practiced. It was very helpful. And if I enjoyed something, a feeling, I thought I will enjoy with compassion meditation. So, and we didn't have lights or anything. It was so simple there with kerosene lamp, and it was really nice. It was really ascetic, but it was one of my life changing time I had. So the same explanations I gave you, it made big sense. Those days I used to like when he explains what I just now told you about, the about to keep the breath to the last moment. So he used to tell me only this explanation when I was very peaceful, many years, before he used to tell time to time. And then when I stayed with the retreat with him, when he told me to read, then it made very big sense. And I had some idea what the Buddha is. The Buddha. You can't know him from his teaching. These main things only you can know who he is. Even if you were there when he was alive, you would think he's a handsome person, he's nice, but you would not know he's that enlightened being. But what he speaks and what then you practice and you experience something, then definitely you know he's on ignorance dependent the karma formations dependent consciousness, and with rebirth consciousness in the womb of a mother. On the consciousness depends the mental and physical existence, Namarupa. On the mental and physical existence depends the six sense organs. On the six sense organs depends the sensorial impressions. On the sensorial impressions depends feeling. On the feeling depends craving. On craving depends clinging. On clinging depends the process of becoming. On the process of becoming depends rebirth. On the rebirth depends decay and death. Rebirth means birth. And in 46 page, we go through this. Thus, through the entire fading away and the extinction of this ignorance, the karma formations are extinguished. Through the extinction of karma formations, consciousness is extinguished. Through the extinction of consciousness, the mental and physical existence is extinguished. Through the extinction of mental and physical existence, the six sense organs are extinguished. Through the extinction of the six sense organs, sensorial impression is extinguished. Through the extinction of sensorial impression, feeling is extinguished. Through the extinction of feeling, craving is extinguished. Through the extinction of craving, clinging is extinguished. Through the extinction of clinging, the process of becoming is extinguished. Through the extinction of the process of becoming, rebirth is extinguished. Through the extinction of rebirth, decay and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are extinguished. Okay, you must just think like it's happening to you, you must apply it. This is, I'm like in a way initiating you to a thinking that will bring enlightenment. Okay, page 68, analysis of the four elements. It's another topic of like, how to look at things. And further, the disciple contemplates this body, however it may stand or move, with regard to the elements. This body consists of the solid element, the liquid element, the heating element, and the vibrating element. Just as if a skilled butcher or a butcher's apprentice who had slaughtered a cow and divided it into separate portions were to sit down at the junction of four high roads, just so does the disciple contemplate his body with regard to the elements. So it's in another book, they have explained this more. When a butcher rears a cow, brings it to the place of slaughter, binds it to the post, makes it stand up, slaughters it, and looks at the slaughtered cow. During all that time, he has still the notion cow. But when he has cut up the slaughtered cow, divided it to pieces, and sit down near it to sell the meat, the notion cow ceases in his mind and the notion meat arises. He does not think that he is selling a cow or that people buy a cow, but that it is meat that is sold and bought. Similarly, in an ignorant worldling, whether monk or layman, the concept being, man, personality, etc., will not cease until he has mentally dissected this body of his as it stands and moves, and has contemplated it according to its component elements. But when he has done so, the notion personality, etc., will disappear, and his mind will become firmly established in the contemplation of the elements. Now we go to the other one also. And further, now here it's about a dead body. It's a meditation object also to how to contemplate. This kind of meditation is very helpful if you have children and very attached to people. Maybe like it will help even your parents or any other things you feel very attached. I know people, monks also, nuns who had children before, when they did this practice, they were able to remove that tremendous attachment to their children, especially. So this one is actually dead body. If you are in front of a real dead body, there's another way of practicing. But you can imagine a dead body in front of you. Okay, imagining is more powerful than actually seeing the dead body because it's your faculties are more exercised. All right. So this is more powerful just to imagine now while you're like this, the dead body is like that in front of you. And further, just as if the disciple were looking at a corpse thrown on a charnel ground, 1, 2, or 3 days dead, swollen up, blue black in color, full of corruption, so he regards his own body. This body of mine also has this nature, has this destiny, and cannot escape it. And further, just as if the disciple were looking at a corpse thrown on a charnel ground, eaten by crows, hawks, or vultures, by dogs or jackals, or devoured by all kinds of worms, so he regards his own body. This body of mine also has this nature, has this destiny, and cannot escape it. So you have to visualize these things slowly, close your eyes, and like that, you have to picture it, okay? When you're reading on your own. And further, just as if the disciples were looking at a corpse thrown, and with this idea, you must help yourself to let go your body. Okay, when you're visualizing these things, you must feel light, more peaceful. Then you're in the right direction of contemplating. Okay, you should not feel heavy or something. You are already trying to relax, and you're already trying to relax yourself more. by using this contemplation. This is how you read these books. You learn to develop your visualizing, analyzing. That's how it works. Each moment you are doing that, certain different types of chemistry or hormones starts to work in your body. Okay, I tell, when you have a lot of faith, like you, when you have fear or anger, you have adrenaline. Okay, so adrenaline, these hormones makes you have these thoughts, fearful thoughts. There's a relationship between them. So same way, if you have thoughts connected with the teachings, you know, which is making you peaceful, then some chemistry also should happen in your body. Some hormones do get formed. This is not known normally. No, I think serotonin. No, I can't remember. Some of this in the pineal gland, right? But I know in the Ayurvedic terminology, there is something called ojas that gets formed, especially when you have a lot of devotion and when you have a lot of concentration, samadhi. And normally they travel to your brain and open up areas of the brain which was not functioning and get deposited. And that part makes you have those thoughts again, maybe devotion and all that. So that is called ojas. And normally when you get that more and more, when you have calm states of mind, you have created so much, you become charming. You have like a, I tell you, will have a shine in your cheeks and forehead, and don't loosen, and your skin looks very soft. It will have a soft nature. So this is just to encourage you. Don't misunderstand me that I'm trying to make you all models or something. Okay, so it's just an idea how when you're doing these things, it's going to affect your body also. Now, especially when you're analyzing and doing this, it creates a very fine substance or hormone. It's called tejas. This is not in the it's in the Ayurvedic and the yoga system. Tejas. Especially when you're celibate, it creates that more. So, and especially when you're analyzing, it creates some very specific, it's more powerful, more potent, and it opens up especially the frontal cortex, certain areas. And when that is created, that will create these thoughts easily. So initially it's difficult. When you have to keep reading and practicing, later it will come like automatic to you, because your body also is helping. Your bodily, the hormones also help you to think that way, and your brain also has opened that areas, that parts of the brain. So we visualize. And further, just as the disciples were looking at a corpse thrown on a charnel ground, eaten by crows, hawks, or vultures, by dogs or jackals, or devoured by all kinds of worms, so he regards his own body. This body of mine also has this nature, has this destiny, and cannot escape it. And further, just as if the disciples were looking at a corpse thrown on the charnel ground, a framework of bones, flesh hanging from it, bespattered with blood, held together by sinews, a framework of bones stripped of flesh, spattered with blood, held together by sinews, a framework of bone without flesh and blood, but still held together by the sinews. Bones disconnected and scattered in all directions. Here a bone of the hand, there a bone of the foot, there a shin bone, there a thigh bone, there a pelvis, there the spine, there the skull. So he regards his own body. This body of mine also has this nature, has this destiny, and cannot escape it. And further, just as if the disciples were looking at bones lying in the charnel ground, bleached and resembling shells, bones heaped together after the lapse of years, bones withered and crumbled to dust, so he regards his own body. This body of mine also has this nature, has this destiny, and cannot escape it. Thus he dwells in contemplating of the body, either with regard to his own person or to other persons. Now, when this in this way, he imagines his own body will happen one day like that, and whoever he remembers or he sees in front of him, he would apply that. His body, that person's body also, this will happen. Okay, for one reason he does that, so he will have no attachment to his own body or to other bodies. Okay, we are going into a different terminology now, right? Or other bodies. He beholds how the body arises, beholds how it passes away. Now this is a contemplating part. He knows how the body arises. According to Buddha's teaching, karma is one of the reasons for body to arise, and the other one is food, a direct reason, a cause. So these are all impermanent. Karma is impermanent. Food is impermanent. If you don't give food to the body, then the body will cease to exist. Okay. So this is a one way when Buddha says in short form, beholds how the body arises. Then you must put these things into your mind. Beholds how it passes away. Beholds the rising and passing away of the body. So you do it in fast forward, just to get an idea of impermanence of the body. Okay? A body is there. This is clear awareness is present in him to the extent necessary for knowledge and mindfulness. And he lives independent, unattached to anything in the world. Okay? Thus does the disciple dwell in contemplation of the body. I think my part of reading this is finished for you all. And you must go through this. Some now you might contemplate, then you might become slow in reading this. So when it happens, I told now tomorrow morning to finish the maximum. Then you have to read fast. Don't worry whether you understand or not, or do the contemplation. Okay. In this 5 day retreat, I have mixed it with. It's like I'm trying to make sure you are bound to take something end of the 5 days. Okay. You can't spend more time because sometimes you might not get that vision. You know. So, but if you don't get that vision, I'm doing something where you are bound to get something, a powerful positive energy based on my experience with those people who saw when I just read also how my level of positive energy inside me has increased. Kusala Siddha, the wholesome states have increased. Okay. So that's why now even other things I tell you to read in case you find you can't meet that time or then you'll have to read fast. Don't worry if you don't understand. Okay, by doing that also you'll be getting something. Remember that. This I promise from my. I don't know how I can prove it to you, but see when you go after 5 days, maybe you might feel it. Okay, and just tomorrow in the morning, after you have finished this, page number 16, you must quickly start going. Now this is really going to focus into. Now this is a general one you're getting. Okay, this book is creating a general platform for your mind, and but from tomorrow, I normally come and tell tomorrow, but I better tell today because after you have finished, you must just go into this. Okay, I told you tonight. Try to read those two sutras before you sleep. Page number 16. Now only you are going into really meditation object. These are sutras that made uh, Arahant. You know the term Arahant? These are sutras told and they became Arahant. Arahant means the final liberation. Mm, okay. I'll just put you into that track. Okay. Now, 16. Here, this one of the disciples of the Buddha, not disciple, lay disciple, yes, comes and meets a Buddha. He's very old and he tells, please give me a short discourse. And the Buddha says, though your body is sick, but keep your mind not sick. Okay. So Buddha didn't explain in detail what is the meaning of body is sick. And so one of his disciples, Sariputta, he explains how the body is sick and the mind is sick, and how the body is sick and the mind is not sick. Okay, I'm going through it fast. Last paragraph. How householder is one afflicted in body and afflicted in mind. Here, householder, uninstructed worldling, who is not a seer of the noble ones, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, who is not a seer of superior persons, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, regards form as self. Now you know when the word form is told, no? Form means body, right? Okay. Regards form as self, or self as possessing form. or form as in self, or self as in form. He lives obsessed by the notion, I am form, form is mine. Okay, in this sutta, I will repeat again. Here, one of the lay disciples asked a short discourse from the Buddha. And then the Buddha says, though your body, he's an old man, he's an old person. So he says, though the body is sick, don't make your mind not sick. But he didn't explain in detail. So one of the Buddha's disciples explains to this lay devotee how the body is sick and the mind is sick, and how the body is sick and the mind is not sick. Okay, these are now you have to get to this thinking. Um, this is a different type of thinking that makes you enlightened, where you lose your ego, lose the delusion of self. How householder is one afflicted in body and afflicted in mind. Here, householder, the uninstructed worldling, who is not a seer of the noble ones, and is unskilled and undisciplined. Do you have the books? You have the book, no? Do you have this big book? Oh, you have. You can the page number 17. Everybody have page number 17. You're sharing the book or tomorrow? Right, right. I think now new organizers are there, right? Good. They're volunteering. No, no, no. Doesn't matter. They can share. Everybody has the book. The small two children doesn't matter. You can listen. Okay. Your one is in the room. Okay. The bed is reading. Hmm? Tomorrow you can bring them. Anyone else? No, no. Okay. You can look with. Yeah, you can share with someone. Page number 17. How householder is one afflicted in body and afflicted in mind. Here householder, the uninstructed worldling, who is not a seer of the noble ones, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, who is not a seer of superior persons, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, regards form as self, or self as possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. He lives obsessed by the notions, I am form, form is mine. As he lives obsessed by these notions, that form of peace changes and alters. With the change and alteration of form, there arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He regards feeling as self, or self as possessing feeling, or feeling as is in self, or self as in feeling. He lives obsessed by the notions, I am feeling, feeling is mine. As he lives obsessed by these notions, that feeling of his changes and alters. With the change and alteration of feeling, there arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He regards perception as self, or self as possessing perception, or perception as in self, or self as in perception. He lives obsessed by the notion, I am perception, perception is mine. As he lives obsessed by these notions, that perception of these changes and alters. With the change and alteration of perception, there arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure. Now, this is not normally how we are normally. Okay, Prutajjana. Okay, that's how we are worried, oh, it's like, this is how it is. He regards volitional formations as self, or self as possessing volitional formations, or volitional formations as in self, or self as in volitional formations. He lives obsessed by the notion, I am volitional formations, volitional formations are mine. As he lives obsessed by these notions, those volitional formations of his change and alters. With the change and alteration, that means, like, for example, I'm standing here, someone comes shouting at me, okay, then this is a conscious experience of mine. So this I'm thinking, I am experiencing, these all parts are mine. So because each all this whole experience, I'm thinking I am in it, or I am that person who is, experiencing this. So this is how now we are learning another way of looking at things. As he lives obsessed by these notions, those volitional formations of his change and alters. With the change and alteration of volitional formations, there arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He regards consciousness as self, or self as possessing consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. He lives obsessed by the notion, I am consciousness. Consciousness is mine. As he lives obsessed by these notions, that consciousness of his changes and alters. With the change and alteration of consciousness, there arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. It is in such a way, householder, that one is afflicted in body and afflicted in mind. Okay? And how, householder, is one afflicted in body but not afflicted in mind? Here, householder, the instructed noble disciple, who is a seer of the noble ones and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, who is a seer of superior persons and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, does not regard form as self, or self as possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. He does not live obsessed by the notions, I am form, form is mine. As he lives unobsessed by these notions, that form of it changes and alters. With the change and alteration of form, there do not arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He does not regard feeling as self, or self as possessing feeling, or feeling as in self, or self as in feeling. He does not live obsessed by the notion, I am feeling, feeling is mine. As he lives unobsessed by these notions, that feeling of his changes and alters. With the change and alteration of feeling, there do not arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He does not regard perception as self, or self as possessing perception, or perception as in self, or self as in perception. He does not live obsessed by the notions, I am perception, perception is mine. As he lives unobsessed by these notions, that perception of his changes and alters. With the change and alteration of perception, there do not arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. He does not regard volitional formations as self, or self as possessing. So it's repeated like that. He does not regard consciousness as self, or self as possessing consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. He does not live obsessed by the notions, I am consciousness, consciousness is mine. As he lives unobsessed by these notions, that consciousness of it changes and alters. With the change and alteration of consciousness, there do not arise in him sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. It is in such a way, householder, that one is afflicted in body but not afflicted in mind. This is what the Venerable Sariputta said. Page number 22. This is a very important one and a nice one. Halidakani, the last one. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Venerable Mahakanchana was dwelling among the people of Avanti on a Mount Papata at Kurugara. Then the householder Halidakani approached the Venerable Mahakanchana and paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, this was said by the Blessed One, the questions of Magandiya of the Attakavagga. Having left home to roam without an abode, in the village the sage is intimate with none. Rid of sensual pleasures, without expectations, he would not engage people in dispute. How, Venerable Sir, should the meaning of this stated by the Blessed One, in brief, be understood in detail? The form element householder is the home of consciousness. It's a very nice one, very good for your meditation and for your enlightenment. The form element householder is the home of consciousness. One whose consciousness is shackled by lust for the form element is called one who roams about in a home. The feeling element is the home of consciousness. The perception element is the home of consciousness. The volitional formations element is the home of consciousness. One whose consciousness is shackled by the lust for the volitional formations element is called the one who roams about in a home. It is in such a way that one roams about in a home. And how, householder, does one roam about homeless? The desire, the lust, the delight and craving, the engagement and clinging, the mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendencies regarding the form element, these have been abandoned by the Tathagata. Tathagata means Buddha is talking about himself. Okay, how he refers to him. He names himself. Like sometimes I also tell Swamin once said this. So it's abandoned by the Tathagata, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, obliterated so that they are no more subject to future rising. Therefore, the Tathagata is called one who roams about homeless. The desire, lust, delight, and craving, the engagement and clinging, the mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendencies regarding the feeling element, the perception element, the volitional formations element, the consciousness element, these have been abandoned by the Tathagata, that is, by the Buddha, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, obliterated so that they are no more subject to future rising. Therefore, the Tathagata is called one who roams about homeless. It is in such a way that one roams about homeless. Okay, this is very important. Like this, you will. So tomorrow in the morning, when you have finished, I might come. I might because I have to tell you like this. Okay, so I have to tell you like this because I might not come. I will try to come. Okay. The people with the single is retreat, they know. I'm always trying to come. Okay. So in the morning, early morning, there's a recording. Is it in English? English recording will be there. Okay. There's the English recording also. Early morning, that is 3:30. 3:30 starts, no? 3:30 starts. Yeah. So it's how to develop. Like it's actually a practice of uh, no self meditation and taking it to compassion meditation and then going into the breath. This is actually normal practice I do as a general practice. This started with my experience in the forest when I had this, I told you that some robbers looked after me. So that time, from that time when I was with a lot of pain, that pain I was able to overcome in 2004, many years back. Okay. I was going from forest to forest that time. So after that, as a daily practice, I used to do this, look at my contemplate, but I used to use it to change it to compassion and go to samadhi. So then my contemplation became stagnated for long periods. Okay. Before that, I know what's the level. I have practiced that before before I became a monk even. That this is the much that there's a deep level you have to contemplate to get to that real point of contemplation. So this is you're doing it now. Okay, when you're reading so many suttas, you are exposed to that stimulation. You're getting stimulated that way. So, but in the morning, I told you it's the only time given for samadhi meditation in this retreat. Okay, in the morning you have. If I come, maybe I'll also do my practice here. I'm not. I hope that recording will guide you. I don't want to talk too much that time. But with the compassion meditation in the morning, another type of energy will be tapping while you're here. Because my life is mixed, as I told you, with cosmic, energy also with that practice. So and the nibbana, this practice, what you're reading and doing in the daytime. So the main thing is the reading part in the daytime. If you want, you can read because you have a lot to read also. You can do the contemplation in the morning time also. Okay, bring a torch and then you can read if you like. That's the best meditation you can do. But if you like to do a little bit of samadhi, do the way I guide, you can do the compassion meditation and little anapanasati. And until 6 o'clock, the time is given for you to do this meditation of samadhi. Okay, but after 6 to 12, if you practice samadhis not more than 1 hour, okay, you might like to do that practice to be more peaceful and calm. It may be tiring for you to read, but doesn't matter. This is for your good. Just do that part of reading. In this retreat, I told you it is going to break all your blockages in your meditation. Even if you for samadhi or any other spiritual growth, I believe this it will happen, and in your material life too. All these blockages, if you have, is going to remove by just you must go through just do the reading. And tomorrow you can start initially contemplating and reading after the morning. But by morning, Word of the Buddha, that book you must finish. Okay. And in the night, if you feel you can, if you want to sleep now immediately, I don't know, you can read that two suttas I told you from the big book, and try to read it if it's good, because you should have read it already today. So just you can read, what will you understand there. So we are going to finish here. All right. Tomorrow morning you must start. In case you finish the word of the Buddha, then start this from this sutta. Okay. Now I have given the instruction for you to a main meditation object. These are all sutras which made those beings enlightened, fully enlightened, not even stream entrant. Okay, so you're getting the same. There's some. My teacher told me to read the whole section. There's a reason behind it. Maybe looking repetitive, but it will have an effect on you. Okay, so be happy. Just this evening, even in your life, exposed to so many other things in your life, and for a moment in contact with an enlightened being's words, instructions, I think is the most worthwhile moments in our life. To get to know something about life, the meaning of life, that there's no meaning in some way or the other. It will give a lot of peace, nothing to be excited about, nothing to regret, nothing to be expecting of. You can enjoy life more when you become more awakened and enlightened. I hope this will become strong. I feel a lot of potential in you all. I feel very happy. This is like, this is also like kind of for me a maiden time. Of course, in Buddhagaya, who you all met me in Buddhagaya? That time, that how many years back? Long time back. That time. You're like a big group, right? You came with one monk, Malaysian monk. Word of the Buddha or what? Oh, really, really? Okay, okay. You all followed that time. Okay, so it's a karma you are meeting at the time when I'm coming to the public from last year, no? Yeah, yeah. And especially this retreat. So at least the master's full blessings is coming now. My teacher's blessings to you all. He was expecting this from me, and I'm also happy I was able to do. So several times I nearly died, in the Himalayas. Even last year also I had this operation and weakness, but I was more careful than previous times. So, and even in the jungle, chased by elephant, this happened. We don't know. I was so many times going, and suddenly one day I had it was 2 years back, 3 years back. But anyway, it was like, it came and it just turned. Two people came behind and they were calling, shouted that just it turned this way. Otherwise, it just came, like one step, two step. I'm looking like this. One time, like, it's like a bulldozer. And I turned like this, from the side. And I was coming. I saw him like near the cross, like I looked back. And then I can't run. I walked away. Then I looked another one occasion. It was like the middle area. Again, I looked. It was just near my shoulder. These two people were there with sticks, Raja, Raja, and shouting. And then it turned this way and went. Yeah, so we don't know if I had the karma to die that time. Anyway, um, so now I'm there. At least I hope you'll make use of this. Take this confidence. I'm not lying about not just studying a little bit this and then coming and teaching. No. When I was young boy, I was very clear about this. I always said those days people to read the suttas and all that. I had no time to explain to them and how to contemplate. This is now I'm getting that opportunity. So this is you can one day you'll see if you spend time faithfully and don't complicate it too much. Don't try to understand it too much. Just let it come naturally. Hmm? And I wish you good luck. And tonight also, if you feel sometimes something, like chant, you have the chanting books, chant a little bit before you sleep. It will help you. Anything you feel uncomfortable, lonely, or like some few people. So have compassion, think they are fellow beings. Have love for them, all different walks of life, but come to the same training, like one family this time. So have metta, but don't have attachment, don't talk. You have to keep silence. I think like two, three are in one room sometimes, right? So be careful not to talk, okay? Even while you're coming, going, just if you have something who are organizing, you can tell them if there's some need you need have. Others don't talk at all. Okay. Otherwise, then you will lose some blessings. Don't think it's just here because it comes from a silent zone, that insight. Okay, so you have to be in a silent zone, silent this thing. If I'm there or not doesn't matter. When you're focusing towards that, it will come to you. So to do that, you have to be silent and try to be alone also physically with compassion to others. Don't think, oh, this one is disturbing me. Don't have these negative thoughts. Have love for all of them. And with that, you will have the proper condition in your mind to experience something. Okay. And wish you all good luck and a good night. And hopefully, you have a peaceful, sweet dreams with the Dhamma. And because this time it will be like certain karma, certain things will come out. Okay. So it's not that it's coming from outside, it is something which is within you. Nothing comes from outside. So at least they will be. So I told you this first day or first night or first day will be, if it's going to be difficult, it's going to be the first day, first hours. So I don't think it's something unbearable you have faced. So tomorrow, if you have not slept previous nights, sleep well. Okay. Don't put alarm or anything. Just sleep nicely. All right. And then come for breakfast or lunch or whatever you want. Okay. But don't sleep after that more. You have given enough sleep, and then the next day or whatever. Then you slowly try in the morning if you can come. But you know your own body. Don't give too much. You know the amount of sleep you need and the food you need. Give it. Keep your body comfortable, but not overly lazy. Don't make it. After the sleep, don't sleep again. You know the amount of sleep you need, amount of food you need. When you do like that, and then when you're going about, don't go just fast. Try to develop that mindfulness continuously. Think past is gone, the future has not come, and the present moment, the carpet I can see. Just try to bring the attention to what you're seeing immediately. Okay, it may be just simple thing, just watch it properly so that you bring the mind to the present moment. It might go again, oh, I had to do this, I have done that. Then remind yourself, again, I must pray just for the simple things like that. So then the attention you will develop that attention to keep in the present moment. It is when you're moving and in the toilet and all that. So normally you will have more than other times you will feel more sleepy and all that. Okay? More than other times you will feel more desire for food and all that. Maybe in the evening you get a gilapasa. තාම දුන්නේ නැහනේ. Right. So juices and all that, I think in the evening. So normally in a retreat like this, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's late. So now you will have undue interest for the juices and the food because your senses are blocked. So be mindful of that while you're taking to eat slowly. Try to control that more. The tasting doesn't mean you don't take the juice while you're drinking. Try to see that it's meaningless if you vomit out how it is like. That you can try to think. That will also help you to develop your concentration power. And the other one that might come is daydreaming. You might go in this kind of situation, you might go to more daydreaming, like you have a vacuum, and so be careful. Then you chant something, recite something, don't allow it too much. Okay. And suddenly some thoughts may come, sensual thoughts and memories. It should come. If it doesn't come, that means you're not living in proper solitude. So that it might come something like shocking or fearful, it also might come. Then you chant a little bit, think of the impurities of the body, or read some of these. Just overcome it. If you can't handle it, any experience, then you can inform some of the organizers. And I'm available 24 hours. Don't feel embarrassed. Okay, it's 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. That time I'm very awake, so you can call me at that time. So you have to knock. I don't know who is there. That gentleman, he's there. So they can knock, but you have to tell, SOS, SOS. Okay. And then otherwise I don't respond. Also, they know that. And then definitely I'll come. Don't feel embarrassed. Okay. Simple thing I can explain to you or tell you to do something. All right. Be at home. Mm. So all blessings, all this good karma you have accumulated. Think, be grateful to your parents, wherever they are, who gave you this life, and all the protective angels in this world, the devatas we know. May they all get the share of these good merits. And all the other divine beings, as we know, and from the lowest, all have been our relations according to Buddha's teaching. Long time we have been reborn according to him, and sometimes we might know from our certain personal experience. So every being has been our mother, father, or like that. Buddha tells like that. So we must think of them all when we are doing such a good deed and when we are doing such a good activity. All that good karma from the lowest worlds that exist to the highest existing worlds, all sentient beings, may they get a share of these good actions we have done today, good energy, good merits we have accumulated. Think of it like that. Especially the four protective devatas and Sakra, the king of gods in the angelic worlds, and in the higher Brahmalokas, the here Brahma Sahampati, who was constantly with the Buddha, inviting him and so on. And all the yogis, rishis, munis, siddhas, they also may you transfer all the merits. And all there are snake nagas, we call them, Gandharvas, all angelic beings who are protecting good beings who are doing good deeds, may they all get a share of these merits. And there are 32 crores of divine beings, so many uncountable. May all those divine beings who have right view, who are appreciating the enlightened path, may they get a share of all these merits. May they protect this noble path in this human plane. May they protect this experiential teaching, mm, and the practice so that it is done by human beings more and more and that they get liberated, that they are not going to fall back and go into defilements and enjoyments and suffer in this life also. So transfer all that merit to all of them. So Padveva, looking viditva, Siyadottaman ascertains to the Buddha's infinite willpower, his determination, may you pay respects to that. And the Buddha, he has the special marks, 32 marks of his body, especially in his feet, the chakra, the conch shell, and the disc mark of this mighty being. Reflect on that and pay your respects to that, so that in also his mighty parami, many birds, how we fulfill so many good deeds to become the Buddha. May that protect you, your path too, without any obstacle, and that you will have strength and willpower to practice without any disturbance whatsoever. So Bhattitva, Looking Viditva, even Swadabha. And all the people in this country, Australia, may they get strength, may also get inspiration to come out of all suffering. All the human beings in all these states and all other countries too, the human beings get new inspiration and strength to follow a way of purity, good deeds, good words, good thoughts, and then experience this peacefulness, no worry, no fear. May all human beings get an opportunity in all countries. Think of it.